Content!
Do you get what I'm saying? And then into what we're calling into Galatia.
So if we all had the same origin,
well, tell you about yourself.
then what's the
You want to
difference?
learn? Yeah, I'll teach you about Ukraine. Come on. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, guys. I'll leave you to the conversation now. The only thing that I have to say now is just one quote. We was kings. It's the only thing I have to say to this. The only thing I can say to this
I
conversation.
just cringed.
The only thing I can say about this.
Say that again.
You was
Good luck.
You was king.
What is king? What is that?
King. He said he was a king. They were kings.
It's a
He's a
derisive comment.
cultural appropriation is a lot in this part.
We were kings and he left.
Yeah, cultural appropriation is a lot. I don't mind. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to remember the baby. He's the baby of the family, man.
You were king thing. It's what a lot of white people say when they see black people appropriating other people's culture and trying to claim it as their own. So basically saying that's what Maku is doing right now. I don't know the argument.
Oh, okay, I see that.
But it's obviously it's a logical fallacy because history or his story, get me, history is always told by the victors.
Although
100%, but
there might be a thing you could say with that is that if you potentially say that we invented everything, it kind of gives that statement justification, right?
No, we don't say
If
that.
you say, well, you made that, but we made it first.
No,
That's
we
why
don't.
people say that.
I mean,
You know what I mean?
in a sense,
I don't think
you've
that's
got
the
to
right way of looking
understand.
at it.
You've
Well,
got
me
to
neither,
understand.
but
I
if
think
we're the
the right way
oldest
of
people,
looking at it is that
if we're the oldest people on the planet, right, and we populated the whole planet, who are the first Europeans?
But we're all the same then, right?
No, who are the first Europeans? Us.
no, but I don't follow. I don't follow that. I don't
think
follow that
Mohammed would
narrative.
agree.
I don't
You're
follow
gonna
that
catch up
narrative.
one day. You're gonna catch up one day.
No, I don't follow
because
that narrative.
people and structures that we built, like Stonehenge and all of these type of things, that relate to places and situations in Africa. The winter and the summer solstice. We don't have seasons, do we? Right. So the winter solstice in Stonehenge, there's the thing where the moon reflects at a particular night. You know what I'm saying? To start the winter solstice, right? And that represents the flooding of the Nile. So this is my whole point. This is an 8,000-year-old supposedly structure. You know what I'm saying? That references part of its yearly ceremonies with the Nile. Do you know what I'm saying?
So you're saying you're Egyptian?
No, I'm saying those people who built the structures are Egyptian.
Yeah, that's
No,
fine.
exactly. So that's my point. So who are the first people in Europe? Because everybody's going to come after. Even them,
Okay, so where did
who,
the
as Celts,
where did the Europeans come from?
even as
Again, I'm kind of confused.
I'm saying, even as Celts,
I'm a man.
they're going to come. They're going to come via Egypt.
So even they came from Egypt. The
Some
Europeans.
people came from Egypt. Some people came from Egypt. Some of them came from Egypt. So
in essence,
we
we're
can
the same people.
no, we can specify those people. You know what I'm saying? Because we keep records, innit? So it's not a case of them and not them. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Ashkenazi Jews never existed in the time of the Celts or the thing. They never existed. Yeah. There's this 1300s. You understand? That the first Khazars came up and they were on horseback. They lasted for about 13 or 15 years, of their little reign, and then it was subdued. Then you don't hear nothing of them because they infiltrate and go into different parts of Europe. You know what I'm saying? Or the Mediterranean as well. And become those people. This is the problem. This is why modern Greeks
I know you
are
mean
not
like
like
become these people,
ancient Greeks. Or modern Italians are not like ancient Italians. Or Sicilians.
Well, all
You know what I'm saying?
populations change over time, man.
Generation of people.
Because
not fade.
we interbreed. We travel around.
It's only through mixing. So only when you mix is there any changes. Otherwise, people are generally going to stay the same.
No, I don't agree. I don't say mix. I'll say education, but I'll say
What, education? What do you mean? That makes them change.
100%.
What, look? Oh, okay.
Change their mind. You mean
Change their mind.
Oh, okay, change their minds. Okay,
I don't think
understand.
mixing is the only answer because I think education comes first before you mix.
Well,
I'll
not
say that's
really.
phase one.
As I said, when you're taking over, you get me? When you're taking over, sometimes the way we did it was education. You know what I'm saying? Like we would go over, conquer them. You know what I'm saying? Kill all the men. You know what I'm saying? Breed all the women. The children we would educate. We would stay there for about 600 years. So until the whole place was darkened. Do you get what I'm saying? That's like an ethnic cleansing. Do you get what I'm saying? But a good one. Do you get what I'm saying? Because originally they were
Bro,
like
man,
that.
oh man, you're the
I'm not
funny.
into prisoners of war.
That's some
and
crazy
all that
banter,
sort of
bro.
thing. You get me? They
Sorry.
were.
But no, what you're talking about is very similar to the same concept of white supremacy. But you just said black supremacy. It's the same concept.
Well, there's no such thing as black supremacy. It's actually moral. But
You just said to do cultural genocide
And
and
then
the
to
good
blacken
one.
them.
cultural
Come on,
genocide.
man.
Is it cultural genocide?
Or actual literal genocide. Sorry, not cultural. Because she would kill the
but
people.
Do they write it like that in history?
Why would you support something like that?
You know what I'm saying? Would they write? Do they write it like that in history? But that's what actually happened. I'm telling you what actually happened. Yeah. But they don't write it like that in history. They just say the Moors took over Spain or took over. You don't know the details. Do you know what I'm saying? And I'm saying, yeah, I know some of the details, so I'm explaining it to you. And now all of what? I'm wrong. No, I had nothing to do with it.
We're not
But,
saying
yeah,
you're wrong.
I'm telling
but
you
saying that it's a
how-
good thing.
how
It's
people
contentious.
brought people back. You know what I'm saying? Because they were that complexion originally, and then other people, Europeans or blonde hair, blue eyes, coming
But
from
I
the
don't,
north,
but I don't
come
believe
in.
that either.
What? Sorry?
I don't believe that certain people are one complexion.
Certain people are one complexion.
Yeah,
Like,
like there was one defining complexion
so originally.
originally. Yeah. Okay, if you okay from a religious point of view, yeah, we believe that there was Adam and Eve, right? Some will say that Adam was a black man, right?
Yeah.
Some will say that, right?
Yeah.
And some will say that his children were not just black. Like he had white kids,
Right.
black kids, mixed race kids, off hair,
Right.
skin. I mean, he had different varieties of children.
Right.
Right? So where am I going?
Where does Europeans
Yeah,
come?
it's just, yeah, I mean,
Can I say
yeah. So the concept of what, so the fact that you're not, what I'm trying to say is that you're not fight. It's not more of a you or me thing. It's basically people saying this way of looking is the right way. This way of looking is the wrong. I don't know how to explain it.
I think it's more to do with the systems in place.
Yeah,
Remember I
yeah,
said the
yeah,
systems.
yeah, yeah.
So
Skin
the
colour
sin
is dictated by the sun, basically.
Really?
The closer you are to higher temperatures, is the darker your skin's going to be for protection. Here we're in the northern part of the globe, so people have developed their skin colour is lighter. It's simple as that.
Do you think?
That's it.
Well, it's a genetic adaptation to the environment.
Exactly.
We covered it at the start of the
No,
convo.
we can accept that to some,
I would say so.
to some extent, yeah. But yeah, okay.
No, it's not to some extent. It's simple.
But we're kind of glossing over the part where you said that it was done by the good guys.
Yeah, it was
What
done
do
by
you
the
mean,
original.
man?
I mean,
What do you mean?
obviously,
How could genocide be a good thing? Can it be a good thing?
He didn't
well,
say
it's
that.
not really genocide, as I said.
remember.
It's not. It's not.
Say that the more genocided people.
Yeah?
He said that the more genocided people.
He's saying the more genocide.
No, I'm saying what you said,
saying-
my
He's
friend.
saying what he said.
It's
I'm
on
saying
the
the actual
camera.
process.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah, of what was going on. So
He's saying that when they did it, meaning they, the blacks, did it and darkened the land. you see,
yeah, darken the people.
Darkened the land.
Of South Europe, Southern Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah, darkened the land is more or less exactly what white supremacy did. If that makes
Okay. There are some
I
parallels. I
don't-
don't say it's exactly the same.
sense.
don't know
I'm
about
saying it's the same ideology and same principle.
That's what you're saying.
Because you're saying
Am I
raping and
saying
pillaging.
anything? That's what he just
That's
said,
what I'm
isn't
saying.
it?
I mean, you're-
It'd be
we're going
convenient
by
if
that
I said it.
No,
was.
but
you're
you're
saying
looking
what
at
the
it-
Moors did in Southern Europe.
I don't know anything about the
It's
Moors.
right.
I'm saying about what
Okay.
he told me about the
might be.
Moors.
But it sounds similar
It sounds very
to what
similar.
Europeans did in Africa. Is that
What
what you're saying?
Africans did
Yeah.
in.
What Africans did in Southern Europe is similar to what Europeans did in Africa.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
That's what he was saying.
That's what you're saying.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Right. So what
I'm
It's
telling
on
you
the
what
camera,
it
bro.
wasn't. I'm saying in the history.
Who's dead, man?
worse?
Wait, I didn't know I was supposed to be talking to somebody. Sorry, I thought that was.
The Zimbabwe thing still.
They say in history.
But wait, let me tell you something. Yeah.
They said in history.
I did.
Right. They don't claim it to be genocide in history. You
Yeah.
understand? They don't claim it to be genocide. They don't think. But I gave you a breakdown
Right.
of certain processes of how people got back to looking dark skin or olive or whatever, blah blah blah, after being European. Do you get what I'm saying? They were not originally European. They also were mixed into, yeah. But us coming back onto them, do you get what I'm saying? To our people, do you get what I'm saying? We've mixed. This is how we did it. You get me? We didn't take prisoners of war like the men and say, yeah, we're going to sell them and do it. We didn't do that. You get me? And we bred your women, do you get what I'm saying? And raised our children. Remember, education was
Funny
your
how
thing.
you're smiling,
One
eh?
second.
This is mad,
Education.
you know, like, I don't
Remember,
know how to take this.
remember, you said
smiling.
education was your thing.
100%.
So to be
If you're gonna
somewhere
change a
600
nation, you must
years,
educate them.
thank you. This is
It
my whole
starts with
point.
education.
Because you've left the women without husbands. You understand? So now you have to assume that role in most cases. So that's your wife now, and these kids are your children. So you're going to educate them. So it's a different type of, ethnic cleansing, if you want to say. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. That it doesn't involve raping and pillaging and like the Europeans.
But you kill all
So
their men.
everybody has that.
You're saying because
war.
because you rape.
It's war. What are you going to do? We're going to take prisoners of war? No.
So what you're saying is because
You know what I'm saying?
because
Depends on the circumstance.
It depends on the circumstances and the mindset.
because you're saying because they took the women, or married or procreated with them,
Yeah.
and had kids with them,
Yeah.
it is different to what the Europeans did,
Yeah.
or white supremacy did.
Yeah, they didn't do that.
They didn't do that.
They didn't do that.
So they didn't have slaves. You looked after them and raised. Okay, I get what you're saying.
They went and sacked places.
Because if they
Romans
didn't, so what you're saying is,
sacked
wait,
places.
you're saying
Right?
if they
Set
didn't,
places on
if
fire.
they didn't take the women would have died. I'm guessing, right?
Well, yeah,
because you
there's
killed
no-
all the men, right?
Yeah, you've killed all the men.
and
Well, they
the
probably
women
would
are
have
just-
survived, but
they're there to
yeah.
they're there for the slaughter.
it could be concubines, there could be thing. We could take them. We
how
did
would
do
they
that
survive?
too.
I get what you're saying. So
So
it was
you're
in
the
their
same,
national,
right?
it was in their interest to be taken over.
What's
Yes.
happening though
Yeah.
is that this gentleman is trying to focus on the sameness
Yeah.
of the
Who's trying to focus
no
on?
similarity.
Who's focused on anything?
No, he's not doing it. He's just agreeing.
No, but I don't.
So
I'm
if
not-
you-
genocide,
if
though.
you
I'm
do
not agreeing.
if you do
Yeah,
the
yeah.
same thing,
I'm
it's
not
the same
sensing-
thing, right?
I'm not sensing agreement though. What I'm sensing is you're focusing. You're trying to draw an equivalency.
Because it's the same thing, right?
Well,
I made that.
First of all, I'm not necessarily because he's saying some stuff that I'm gonna have to research myself, right?
But murder's murder, right?
to validate.
Or is it not?
Well, no,
Does it
no.
depend?
Even in law, you got first degree murder, second degree murder.
You know
manslaughter,
exactly what I mean.
right? Yeah, no, but I know exactly what you mean. That's why I'm asking the question. How I'm answering it. And this is why these questions are these conversations here are interesting, because I find that we've got a world system, that is built upon a particular idea that has been called white supremacy, right? And everybody tries to prove that black people did the same thing at some point in history. Like, you know what I'm saying? Instead of
No, he made the reference.
yeah, no, I get that. No, I get that. But what I'm saying, I'm just suggesting what I heard in the conversation, right? What I'm saying is, So what I'm saying is,
I don't know if any of
right?
this is true.
But my point is
trying
that
to understand it.
it's that when we don't focus on, well, we're here and we've got a world, a society that is built upon the supremacy of this group of people, their culture, their ways, their political system, their economic systems, and using that, they oppress the entire planet. Yeah? We don't want to deal with that.
Does that not mean it's supreme? Is that not kind of funny, right? Because you say it's supremacy and then it dominates the planet. Does that not define supremacy?
Put it this way.
You can build
a system. You can build a system upon a fallacy. It's possible to do that.
Why is it false if it's true?
But it's not true.
Is it not? But it dominates the planet.
For example, the nature of white people being supreme. It's a fallacy.
Oh no, I agree with you.
But it's possible for white
Absolutely.
people to build a system that is based upon that idea. That is based upon that idea. So in a sense, they validate the idea through the subjugation of other people. For example, men are not superior to women, but we live in a patriarchal and often misogynistic society.
Maybe it's designed to be patriarchal. Maybe we're meant to be patriarchal by nature.
Well, I would disagree with that.
Really?
I would disagree with that.
It doesn't seem many natural matriarchies.
It would seem so if we look at European culture, that patriarchy is natural. It would seem so. It would seem so. It would seem so.
Africa's like that now.
My only point is that, because what happens is people...
Africa's like that now.
See,
There are matriarchies, but they're rare.
There's a discipline. This is obviously... This is obviously... This is obviously
Yeah,
not...
sure, we can step back.
This is obviously not. Patriarchy is not universal, nor is it pervasive as regards to human history. Yeah,
So let's not
there are
talk
many
about
societies that were not
So
patriarchal
let's
or
take the argument away
misogynistic.
from humans, right? So we'll talk about patriarchal structures that exist biologically, and let's talk about the animal
Double
kingdom.
camera.
Yeah,
So if you were talking about lions, for
Big boy
example.
but I would. No.
smile on your face.
The male has a role, and the female
Male has a role, female has a role. You
female
can't.
role is reproduction, looking after children. The male role is hunting.
But that's not patriarchal.
No.
But that's not necessarily
That's not
patriarchal.
lion's
That's
role.
a similar-
That's not necessarily
That's not
patriarchal.
lion's role.
What's lion's role?
Lion's role is to come after the lionesses have hunted down the whatever, and then he eats first.
That's it.
And he bleeds and he kills the offspring.
He doesn't kill any. Oh yeah, he kills the
does, he
offspring.
does.
Sometimes. That are not his.
The former leader.
But again, but the problem is though.
But we're not lying, so...
Oh, now you're not lying.
I didn't support us.
That's what I'm saying. No, yeah,
I didn't support us. No, it's ideology.
Can we tap into what Beefy just said though?
One job.
That everybody.
Lion has one job.
Can we take a what Beefy
The
said
lion
though?
has one job. The lion has one job. To protect the family. That's his job.
That's his job.
So if you actually watch these nature programs,
Any competition.
when a big boss comes, that generally speaking, the lion will deal with that thing. You know what I'm saying, right? Yeah, when like a serious buffalo come, or you know what I'm saying, whatever, the lion will get up and deal with the matter, right? So there's more that the lion does, but the problem is that if we're looking at, because as human beings, we learn from the animal kingdom and nature, but because we have human intelligence, we develop social systems that are advanced beyond that. And what I'm saying is that if we look at patriarchy and misogyny, these are not natural laws. They don't occur in all societies.
Women hatred is quite different from patriarchy.
I would agree with you to a certain degree. I would say that when you develop a system based upon misogyny,
is it?
Yeah. Well, I would argue that the society in which we live is inherently misogynistic and patriarchal.
Could you justify that, please?
Yeah. Why do I have to justify that?
Because you made the statement.
Yeah.
That's
No,
what you made the statement.
Yeah, cool. Explain further.
Surely.
No, I would have thought that it was obvious that the society in which we live is built upon misogynistic and patriarchy.
No, you can't say it's obvious. You have to present
I would have
evidence.
thought it was obvious. Cool. No, that's cool. I can do that. I can do that. For example, I can do that. For example, we live in a society, in which women are historically dispossessed.
You said historically.
Yes.
We're talking about now. Is that different? There's a difference between now and the past.
Let's rewind. What I said was we live in a society that is based upon misogyny and patriarchy.
So nothing's changed.
No, I'm not. A thing can change, and still be based upon something. So, for example, slavery is one thing. Colonialization is another thing, but they're both based upon white supremacy. Right. Yes?
Anybody can be a slave. Anybody can be a colonizer.
You're correct. I'm talking about as related to the African experience. Yeah. So in African experience, there is slavery, and what followed slavery was colonization. Okay. And both of those things are based upon white supremacy. Yeah. So the fact of the oppression of African people remain the same. Yeah. But the system of slavery, we can identify it as something distinct from colonialism, even though there are many similarities. It's another thing, right? Yeah. So I'm saying that things can change, but still be fundamentally based upon a similar ideal. Does that make sense? Yeah. So today, the issue might be, for example, there are women in this society that are fighting for equal pay, for example. Yeah.
They already have equal pay.
Right, they may well do.
Equal pay act substantiated in law.
They may well do. But few would deny. Yeah, few would deny that there are disparities, in the economic and the employment system. There are disparities when it comes to how women are treated in the workplace versus how men are treated in the workplace.
Like maternity leave.
For example, when it comes to the sexual dynamics of the workplace, men are generally speaking not facing what women are facing when it comes to sexual dynamics in the workplace.
What do you mean?
So, for example, women tend, generally speaking, men tend, generally speaking, not to be the victims of rape, and sexual harassment.
And the military and prisons, they have another story.
But we're talking about society. I think
for men.
I think you're.
Does it matter?
He said military and prison, which generally speaking are gender dominant. So if you look at prisons, there are mostly men in prisons.
Surely there
populated by men, and there are more men in the army than women.
That's
so
true.
So you're using specific instances to deflect from the general
not deflecting,
picture. But you are because
it's a clear statement.
No, but I'm giving you. We're discussing society at the moment.
No, I disagree.
So you can't.
Why do you disagree?
Because you have to define how it hates women. There's clearly there's privileges in the society that are only for women. And there's many situations where men have it a lot worse.
But would you agree with me if there are systems? One second. Would you agree with me if there are systems in a society or parts of the society that benefit specifically women, that generally speaking women had to fight for those things from the men that were dominating them?
things were achieved through action. Yes,
So,
things have changed.
for example, in the
Yes.
society, there was a point at which women were not allowed to vote.
That's right.
Or receive education.
Or many
or
men
them kind of things
for the-
there.
Yeah,
you're not asking
I
the
would
right
agree,
question.
but the difference is that women were not allowed to do these
suffragette
things
movement.
based upon their gender. Generally speaking,
Why?
when
Why is
one
the
second,
question-
when men were dispossessed of these things, it was usually a class dynamic within the society in which we live. So I'm saying, based upon being a woman, there were certain things that women did not have access to. Would you agree with me?
Yeah.
As far as the history of the society that we live in right about now.
It's true. Yes.
Right, so that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, but
So we don't need to act as
but
though these things don't exist. I don't know why we're acting like it don't exist.
You know, it does. I agree.
No,
And we're talking about the present day, right?
Misogyny is a thing, and then you can have a society that is based upon the idea. Yes, misogyny is an idea.
Is it still based on the idea?
I am saying that there are.
Can it ever not be based on the idea?
Can
Can we ever change that, or is it always going to be there?
It can get to
as a
that
scapegoat?
point. It can get to that point. I would argue that we're not there at the moment. But why?
When would we be there? Could you give me the specifications?
When the society evolves to that point. So
Well,
human,
what would that
human
be?
development.
What would be the classification of
You're
that?
asking me to do Nostradamus now.
No, I'm asking
and
you
predict
to
human development.
make a reasonable statement.
No,
it's true. If you can't define your end goal, you can't say the premise.
My end goal.
You can, but it's
right. But first of all, but you haven't asked me my
I
end
know
goal.
it's a good
You haven't asked me my end goal. What you asked me was for a time period at which British society would be on
Not
misogyny.
time period.
Right.
What would it look
Hold on.
like?
When
What
you
would
use when you use the
change?
word when at the beginning of a question, it usually denotes time period. Right.
Obviously, it has
you
other
say, can you
connotations
tell
in
me?
language.
So you say, can you tell me when? Yeah. When? All right. So I'm saying I can't tell you when. Right. I can't tell you when. What I can say.
But what would change in
I
the
can
society?
say-
What would it look like? What would actually change?
We're going off my original point, which was
okay.
that misogyny and patriarchy are not natural or universal laws. Yes, there are societies that developed without upon principles other than misogyny and patriarchy, in which women were not oppressed in that way. So the point I was making at that point is that what tends to happen is, because that is a dominant aspect of society right about now.
I don't think it is.
Well, I would say that this society has been based upon ideas that are dominantly misogynistic and patriarchal.
But
yeah?
if
One
it's
second.
changing,
One second.
how's that relevant?
Change does not. The change of the present does not negate the history.
100%.
Right?
So you can-
One second. Let me finish. Right? So I'm saying what tends to happen is that because the dominant people often don't like to take responsibility for their criminality, so they impose that upon the rest of the world. So it's like we act as though everybody's misogynistic, everybody's patriarchal, and it's
white people are all criminals.
and it's a human condition. Yeah.
Good one.
I'm glad you're admitting to your criminality. It's a human
Sarcasm's
condition.
above you, eh?
It's not above me at all. You've been doing it all this whole conversation, so you got a little bit of your own medicine, and that's it. Right?
No, it just enhances the
let's
absurdity of your
let's move on. It enhances the beauty of my poetry.
Yeah. All white people are criminals, for sure.
But no.
You heard it here
What it
first.
is, yeah.
That's
a very extreme idea.
Thank you. It's extreme.
What's extreme?
That white people are all criminal.
Yeah, but you mean you say Bahime?
What's him and him?
But it's obviously a
that white
reflection
people are
upon what
criminals.
you said.
He can read minds, this guy. This guy
Yeah.
can read minds very well.
So you're saying that
I
his
thought you were an
statement
honest man.
that all white people are criminals is
I thought you were an
extreme
honest
idea.
man, bro. That's not honest.
I'm not. Listen,
All white people being extreme is a criminal.
But I didn't say
your ideology trumps the
I never
truth.
said that.
That's a shame,
I was
man.
talking about societies
That's a
and
shame, man.
civilizations. Yeah. So, for example, yeah,
Everyone.
what Beefy and Maku and myself were trying to say is that there are many African societies, ancient, pre-colonial, that were not built upon misogynistic and patriarchal traditions and ideas.
What was the alternative?
So, for example, you have equilibrium in societies. It doesn't mean that there weren't gender roles. It doesn't mean that there weren't things that men did and things that women did. But there are many societies.
But that's natural.
What's that? Male and female gender roles.
Gender roles.
I would say there's natural basis for these things. But what happens is that there are some people that develop stratification between those things. So they say that what is assigned. I don't think it is inherently oppressive to say that there are things that women do and things that men do. I don't think that's oppressive. What happens is when you elevate the male, and say what is male or what is relevant to men is superior to women, that's when it becomes oppressive. So I'm saying that you can have a society in which there are roles for men and roles for women, but it's not oppressive. Those things work in concert and complement.
I'll give you an example, like nurses and say people that work in construction.
Right.
Most people that work in construction,
That would make sense.
are men
Right.
in the hospital.
That is not necessarily an oppressive dynamic.
No.
Do you know what I'm saying?
No.
So, for example,
I agree with what you're saying.
in many West African societies, for example, I'm saying West Africa like it's not just West Africa. But I'm using that example because I'm probably mostly studied on certain civilizations in West Africa. Yeah, right. But it does exist in East Africa, for example, and Southern Africa and Central Africa. Yeah, but where women control the market, for example. Yeah. So the central.
What do you mean by control the market?
So basically,
monetary spending of the family,
not
right?
just
They
monetary,
call them the
not just
Black
monetary.
Queen.
Money is a very
the Black
recent
Queen.
invention, yeah. But I'm saying that,
Yeah, I get
right.
what
So I'm saying that in traditional societies, the market is where the economy runs from.
100%.
So if the women are in control of the market, the women control the economy.
100%. I agree.
Do you know what I'm saying? Right. So it's impossible to oppress women economically in a society where they run the market.
But wait.
So-
You
but-
said
yeah.
that women run the market because they control the monetary.
No. He
No.
said monetary. I'm saying no, not necessarily
Through
monetary.
the market,
Yeah.
get
So-
the surplus.
But you also have to understand that somebody had to work to get that monetary. I mean, I'm talking about from a male's point of view.
No, how I'm saying, he said monetary. I'm saying that markets.
Because they use money.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying that markets existed before money. So I'm saying it's
Yeah,
not
100%.
it's not necessarily monetary. It could be, but it's not necessarily.
Yeah, because barter was it.
But was there prior to?
Prior to that, yeah.
So I'm saying we don't want to confine it to money. I'm not saying that there wasn't money. I'm saying that it's
Trade.
It's not.
Trade, yeah.
Trade. So I'm saying that in a society, so misogyny and patriarchy in British history, for example, dispossessed women of access to economic independence.
Gotcha.
Yeah? And I'm saying that not all societies in history relegated women to that kind of position.
So wait,
true.
are you trying to say basically that money is the reason why? I mean, the exchange of cash
Yeah.
is the reason why
No.
we're gone.
No. What I'm saying is the idea of men being superior to women
Yeah.
is what dispossessed women of access to economic independence
Yeah, that we
and
agree with.
self-sufficiency.
Yeah, that we agree with.
Right.
I
That's what I'm
but
saying.
this is a fact because there are still hunter-gatherer society. You can understand through the people that live now. There are everywhere.
Yeah.
In Congo is
Yeah.
the biggest hunter-gatherers communities,
Yeah.
and they are equalitarians.
Yeah.
Even women in Congo, if you have a chance to go in these very deprived areas of Congo,
Yeah.
they even hunt. So the idea is that hunter-gatherers, which is the very first form of human organization since prehistory, since 2 million years ago, were strictly egalitarian societies. Why? Because hunter-gatherers travel. They cannot accumulate so much possession. Being possession what gives you status and somehow authority over others
Other people,
within
right.
the community.
And that's what it was.
You
it-
don't
it's-
have all these wealth, material things
To hoard
to become
and
the
control.
boss, the big boss.
and control how it's distributed.
You know, you
that's
have to
that's what it
move.
is. So I'm saying that the idea is
The old
misogyny.
system, the old systems, as I said, are the
So
better
should we
ones.
bring back barter?
You know what I'm saying? In the sense of
I think
golden
to some
ages
degree.
and all of these
You mean
type of things.
hunter-gatherer
To
society?
some degree, I said.
It's
It'll be
another
difficult
example
because
because,
you've got a word that's based on money
It's
right about now. But I
equalitarian.
think to
It's
some
not-
degree.
You mean
It's
like have like a
what
complex
we think it
matrix
is.
where there's a bit of barter,
We think it's a bit.
I think that's the way to
You know what I'm
go.
saying?
There's different ways of looking at
It's
it.
actually scientific and intelligent.
Some of the studies have shown that people are much happier in that lifestyle than they are in this one.
Right. Exactly.
That's
So
true.
I said
I know
this
about
system,
A barter
this
for your
system,
jacket.
we're all complaining about how it doesn't work
About this
properly.
one.
Yeah.
I'm not a big
properly.
fan of it either. But,
Thank you.
there has to be. I have to think about it nuanced. Like, I
So
have to
when
define
I
why.
said, yeah, I find it's going to be impossible to remove the systems that are in place already. Remember I said that earlier, right?
You
The
say
system-
impossible. I don't say it's impossible. It's
not
difficult.
necessarily. It's very difficult. Yeah,
It's impossible.
because of the constructs, the social constructs that they've already.
they built, yeah.
Because you think you're jumping out of one,
Yeah, you got into
and
another
you're
one, yeah.
actually into another one.
Which
You know what I'm
brings
saying?
me to your point
But do you
about
understand?
education.
No, but do you understand why it's difficult to actually bring down the system?
Yes,
What's your opinion?
as I said, because we're all complicit.
We're all
Remember?
complicit in it.
We're all complicit.
Meaning that we accepted it.
No, well,
No,
yes,
I
to
said
a degree.
unbeknown. Remember, I said unbeknown. We're all complicit. For the simple fact is, some of us support the government, some of us think, and the benefits of living here, but not realizing the sufferation that people had to go through for you to have this.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? The clothing, everything, the thing, the credit card.
As a basic example,
You
we could be against the government, but all of us pay taxes in one way or another.
Right.
Yeah, even if not through our job or whatever, and we buy something, we've got value-added tax in it. So we all, because the system is so encompassing our lives at the moment, it's almost impossible to live outside of it. Just what I'm saying. And so at the moment, we live in a dual existence whereby we're going to fight it.
Not really.
But
not really.
What do you mean?
Because you can live outside the system. That's what I'm trying to
That's
say.
it, almost impossible. So for example, like being even me being here right about now is kind of me living inside the system.
Yeah.
It's like the Matrix. Yeah?
No, if you want to live outside this system, it is possible.
Yeah, I say it's possible.
You said
it's possible. No, it's possible.
Why?
It's possible.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Like,
5.
it's possible to live off the grid.
You can agree to trade with silver.
But the difference is though, it's possible.
No man, you can make that decision.
Because remember I told you that if I leave here and go to Nigeria, I've just gone to a place that's been colonized. So I'm leaving the colonizer's home to go to a place that's been colonized.
So you can live off the grid,
which one's
but
easier
living
to
off the grid
change?
doesn't necessarily change the system.
Neither.
What I'm trying to say to you is, one person can't change the system.
Yeah.
But if you, as I said, if you implement education, and say you get 1 million people,
I agree.
Then you can make.
That's the point.
In terms of impact assessment.
So what type of system do you have in mind?
Are they going to allow you to do this?
If you really want to attack the system, the best way to do it is to stop using the currency.
So I'm saying, are they going to allow you?
You're going to get.
Thank you. Are they going to allow you to do anything like that?
But
you know what I'm saying? Within the system? Hell no.
Probably not.
You know what I'm saying? I understand the ideas that everybody has, but it has to be, as my brother said, we have to have an exit strategy to go to somewhere that is not governed by any of these systems.
That's why cryptocurrency came about.
That's not even helping. That's not even helping. You know what I'm saying? Because it
depends on who controls the cryptocurrency. The point is that a currency only
who controls the internet.
A currency only has value.
It's a problem.
A currency only has.
We're going to go in circles.
Not really.
In a sense, that's but that's what the system is designed to do. Yeah, right. And seriously, right? What's it called? But in a sense, because you said we could all choose to trade in silver if we wanted to.
Yeah.
Like me, let's say me, you, Maku, and Raven decide to trade in silver, right? And
notice I'm excluded.
Oh yeah. No, do you notice? Yeah, do you notice? Right?
I wonder why that is.
No, you should notice. And
you know, right?
And pay attention. You know what I mean?
Right?
No, not you. I just mean.
Right?
It's good to pay attention.
Let's say we just have to do that. Yeah. Among us, silver has value. So as long as we're interacting,
silver will always have value.
Listen. You know what I'm saying? Because in this society, people don't trade in silver at the moment. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, currency is an abstract phenomenon. Money is an abstract phenomenon. So I'm saying that we just have to trade in silver. Among us, it has value. But if we try to go to the shop at any point, let's say there's something that doesn't exist among us at the moment. Yeah? And we need to go find where that thing is.
I understand where you're going with it. Right. I told you, you have to implement phase 1, which is education.
And I'm saying,
why you're doing
but
it. Once you do that, then you can gain.
And that's why I say I agree with you.
Well, there's another question.
That's where we are at the moment. Because at the moment, there is not critical mass on the level that it would take for us to make what we are trying to build viable. So we're educating at the moment. It's education, having conversations like these. We're exchanging ideas and that kind of things there.
So what is that model? As I was asking.
So if you're asking me as personally,
no,
right?
You're saying if you have an idea.
No, I have an idea, but I'm saying I'm introducing what I'm about to like that because I'm aware that everybody might not have my idea.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I would be defined as a Pan-Africanist, for example. Yeah.
Is this an economic idea?
It has economic ideas within it. Yeah.
Well, how does it work?
It's not purely economic. So the dominant.
My thing is, if I had a plan and an idea, I can't really.
Anything that I'm about to say is.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I'm trying to tell you, but you also said
that
there is a system in place, and it's very, very difficult to get at that to change, right? So whatever your idea is, there's a system in place.
It's war, innit?
Yeah, to counter whatever.
But the fact is,
so whether you say it or don't say it, they already have a plan for it.
Well, not if I don't say it. Not if I don't say it.
Yeah,
because what's in my mind is in my mind, isn't it?
I hear that.
So what if I don't say it?
What I'm trying to tell you, if even maybe your idea is unique, yeah, and it could work.
Can it be unique in Speaker's Corner?
Maybe.
A place that is recorded, cameras everywhere, blah blah blah, and where
you
people
said you need to get
sit down
mass.
and watch
Is it not difficult to get critical
You know what I'm
mass?
saying? If I'm doing something like that, it has to be a secret.
I'd actually agree with what you just said.
As soon as you implement, it will make noise.
But I think
what I'm trying to tell you is, there will be a system. As you said, the system will be there to counter whatever you're trying to do.
Definitely, but it's war. That's the nature of war. That's the nature of war. But you don't not do what you're trying to do.
Remember what you said
trying to
earlier?
fight it.
Are we at war?
I asked you, are you at war?
Yeah,
That's
we are
your
at war.
mindset.
No, but it makes sense.
But what you just described is the essence of warfare.
I live in peace.
Right? No. What you just said, whether you live in peace or not, what you just said is that. Put it this way: if you are trying to institute peace, and there are people hell bent on fomenting war, then you are at war by implication, because somebody is trying to disturb your peace.
100%.
Right, that's what it is. Right now, to answer your.
But who is like? We all have like. Carry on. I'll let you.
Let me
I don't really want to get into it.
Right, now,
I don't want to get into
what
it.
Maku
the communist system.
what Maku is actually saying.
All right.
He's going to be selective about where he puts forward his plans and ideas. Not necessarily that he's not going to do it at all. So I'd agree with you that if you're trying to get critical mass, it makes sense to speak about what you're trying to do. I agree with that, which is why I'm speaking about it.
And it allows it to be criticised, and that's the only way you can perfect an idea.
Yeah, what are you trying to preempt at the moment?
Really?
Preempt?
Sound like Dragon's
I
Den
said
to me.
perfect.
No. What? To make that statement in terms of critique and perfection, where are you going with that statement?
Well, just on the ideas. Because if you have a criticism
Yeah,
of a model,
I'm asking you the question because I haven't said that I'm adverse to critique.
I'm not saying you were.
Right. So
I'm just saying, like, if you talk about the idea openly, it allows it to be improved.
Oh yeah.
Because you're criticising everyone's. You know, there's an old adage.
No,
It's very
not
easy to criticise.
criticizing. What he's saying, he is trying to make correct or proper judgment of a situation.
Situation.
And his methodology is, I can make a proper judgment only if I become able to see reality. If you don't see reality, you will never make correct judgment.
Definitely.
That is his method.
And how do you see reality?
Your method, on the contrary,
How do you see reality?
is to question his method.
How do you see reality?
Yeah, no, it's a very interesting question. It's a very interesting question. Right, so let me answer your first question first, and then your second question. In fact, let me answer your second question first, actually, because
Whatever you like.
it might give the answer to your first question in.
I mean, it is the only question to ask. It's not necessarily my question.
What's that?
It's just the next. It's the next question.
It's your question because you asked it in this conversation. Yeah, in a way, it's the same semantics. All right. So how do I see reality? Yeah. So my
Siege mentality.
Huh?
Siege mentality.
Siege mentality.
No,
Is that how I see reality?
I meant it a bit differently.
That's how
What is reality?
Yeah. So for example, I start.
That's how you describe yourself.
No, I see myself at war not because I'm a warmonger. Right? You know what I'm saying?
You have a struggle.
It's looking at a reality. Yeah. So you're a Muslim. It's like jihad. Yeah. The term jihad has many different applications. Yeah. So it could be on a personal level.
I do as a Muslim, but carry that.
Because we talked to you before, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You get me?
It's the beard.
Yeah, maybe.
Right? But I'm saying
Jokes.
if you use the word jihad, yeah, there are many contexts to which it can apply, right? Right. So it could be on a personal level, a communal level. Yes? Right. It could be on a nation level. It could be on a military level. Right. So I'm saying that it could be on a spiritual level. Right. So I'm saying that when I say war, I'm not talking about military. I'm saying I was born into a world, yeah, with a particular heritage. Heritage denotes inheritance. I've inherited, that, right, based upon who I am, who I'm born of, which is African people. I class myself as an African, yes? In that, for whatever that means. To anybody here,
It means 400 years of slavery.
beyond that,
They
right?
are quite entitled to be identitarian. 400 years of slavery.
So we're based upon, right?
I'm a man of peace.
No, I hear you, right? But I'm not debating you at the moment. I'm just asking a question, yeah? So I'm saying that based upon that history and inheriting that history and that culture, yes, Pan-Africanism therefore seeks to affirm, and regain what was lost to people that have my heritage.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the basics of it. So I know everything I've just said is in the public domain. So it's like You can read a book and get what I just said.
I read plenty of books, but so you see, when you say heritage, what exactly do you mean? Do you mean people who were affected by slavery, or do you mean people that were born in Africa?
Tag in.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
What do I mean by heritage?
Yeah, because surely
heritage,
the idea is that we might have all came from Africa originally genetically,
that
as your
mean,
friend was saying.
Yeah, but
it's a bit difficult.
so humanity beginning in Africa doesn't mean that all people's heritage is African.
That seems like a paradox.
It might be to you, but
to me, or to logic.
No, because unless you are the primary arbiter of logic, I'm speaking to
I didn't realize logic had an arbiter. I thought it was a feature of cognitive thought, like mathematics. It doesn't matter what I think about it.
Yes, but as human beings, we arrive at logic through reason. Yeah, and so we're in a reasoning process at the moment.
Hopefully.
Yeah, so I'm saying that what you put forward doesn't make sense to you. Whether it is logical or illogical or not, will come to light as a result.
Well, I
of our
put the
reasoning.
caveat at the start. I said it could be people who were affected by colonialism. That is
Yes.
entitled to that heritage. I mean, that makes sense to me.
But not only Africans were subject to colonialism.
That's true.
Right, so I'm saying that the African experience of colonialism is specific and unique and peculiar, and so therefore man relates to that in that context. So for example, Indians were colonized as well, but Indians had to go through their own process, of liberating themselves from colonialism, and what they did related to the Indian experience. Have no problem with that, it makes sense, because people have experiences that are unique to them. You know what I'm saying? The Chinese went through it as well. Yes?
When you say unique, you mean like it was a completely different thing, or?
There are differences. I would argue that the colonization of Africa was unique in many regards, but on a broader level, all people that are colonized have a unique experience that is specific to them. It's because people are generally colonized as groups of people. So if you colonize the Chinese as Chinese, yes, you go to China and you colonize the Chinese as Chinese, you go to India and colonize the Indians as Indians, the Indian experience is going to be different to the Chinese experience because they are different people. Necessarily.
Right. Okay, so I was a bit distracted with this.
No problem.
So I could say that a way of eliminating this, one of the problems, is maybe not identifying with groups.
That you spoke about logic earlier. Name me Name me that dynamic. Can you identify that dynamic in human history?
Oh, of course. Like if you go to a new country, for example, if you emigrate, like I lived in many countries in my time here, and you go there and you don't need to identify yourself as someone else. You can adapt to the place you go.
You missed the question. I said name me that dynamic in history.
So you mean give you a time?
Yeah.
Why is that important?
Is that because what I'm suggesting to you is that group identity is a pervasive human dynamic.
Oh, it is
throughout history.
But I think it's a negative one.
Yeah, and well, I would suggest to you that it's not. I would suggest to you that group identity
is the cause of colonialism.
No. It's not the cause of colonialism.
It's one of them.
No. What the cause of colonialism is one group attempting to impose its will on another group.
Okay.
So it's possible to be a group without doing that.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
It is. I'll give you that.
And I'm saying, and we find many examples throughout history of groups being able to coexist without imposing themselves on each other and oppressing each other. That happens. Yeah?
It's rare.
So no, I wouldn't say no. It's not rare. I would say it's rare in European history, but it's not rare in human history.
And what's different about the Europeans?
What's different about
Why
them?
does it make us more?
You have to tell me that. I think you're more experienced in European.
Well, there we have.
We have
the whole there because you need to answer that, or your statement doesn't hold.
No. I don't need to answer it the whys necessarily. I'm saying that when it comes to the development of European history and civilization, we find a dominant characteristic, which is xenophobia in terms of they don't like to meet people that are different from them. I am saying, well, you can read history. You can read like.
Does it mean that I don't like meeting new people because I was born here?
We're talking about European civilization.
But civilization is people, though.
It's groups of people. So if you're trying to individualize it,
of course,
then you're not listening to what I'm saying.
I
am saying that when you look at, so for example, if we look at, and generally speaking, the cultural center historically of European civilization is Greece and then Rome. Yes, this is what most European people look back to in terms of the central trajectory of the development of European civilization. And I'm saying that those civilizations tend to develop differently yeah, and the civilizations that are inspired by those civilizations tended to develop differently than most of the civilizations that preceded them and often coexisted with them.
Well, if we take Rome, I imagine, I'm not an expert on Roman history, but I do know that the Romans were very successful because they integrated people who were different from them into their society.
They integrated
rather
people
than
that they
being
oppressed.
scared of them. Well, they conquered them and then integrated them into their military,
and
for
made
example.
and
made them very rich.
And made them Romans, though.
Well, they had allegiance
Right.
to Rome.
Exactly, that's the point
right.
I'm trying to make. So, for example, colonization is the same thing. You go to somebody's land and you tell them you must have an allegiance to Queen and country. It's not different. It's the same thing.
But it was against the xenophobia thing.
No, what I'm saying is, when I say xenophobia, I'm talking about when you see something that is different to you, you must subjugate it and make it what you are, or extinct or eliminate it from the planet Earth. And I'm saying that is not a dominant human characteristic.
I think it is.
No, but that's the point I'm trying to make. What you're doing is universalizing whiteness. Yeah. So you're saying yes. So you're saying
what's whiteness?
So, but whiteness is the characteristics, the dominant characteristics pertaining to the development of civilization of white people or European people.
So they all develop the same because they have no melanin?
I am saying no, not necessarily through lack of melanin. What I'm saying to you, for example, is that anthropology, yes, is a field of study that comes up in European civilization. It actually develops hand in hand with European colonization of the world. Usually, anthropology is Europeans studying the cultures of other people who they consider to be lesser than themselves. You know what I'm saying?
That did occur.
Right. Now, what I'm saying is that within the study of anthropology, Europeans, because anthropology is, generally speaking, specifically a European field of study, dynamic. Yeah?
But so anthropology doesn't exist in any other
Anybody
place?
can study culture. Yes, listen to what I'm saying. There's an academic discipline called anthropology that develops in a particular context. Yes? That context is colonialism. Yes?
No. I'm pretty sure people studied other cultures before European colonialism.
I've already acceded that point. What I'm saying to you is, there's an academic field of study called anthropology. Yes?
Yeah, my brother has a PhD in anthropology.
In anthropology, right? So I'm saying that
I do know what the
study,
word means.
Yeah, but I'm saying for example, people were studying the ancient Egypt from long time, but there's a thing called Egyptology that comes about in a particular context. It doesn't mean that nobody was studying Egypt before Egyptology existed. I am saying that anthropology as an academic field of study...
So from a colonialist perspective?
I am saying that you cannot separate anthropology as an academic discipline and colonization, because the two go hand in hand. Yeah?
Make that assertion if you want.
Right, fine. Okay. Right. What I'm saying is that within that context, the people who are Europeans that develop the field of anthropology develop certain ideals about people that they study.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, and they define human nature according to their understanding, and sometimes their distortion of other human societies.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't deny that.
When I say whiteness, what I'm talking about are ideas that are born out of European people's interaction with the rest of the world, and ideas that they develop as a result of that.
Why would you call it whiteness, though?
Why not?
I dispute it because it's obviously a highly divisive thing to say.
No,
you're taking a complex idea.
It might be divisive.
And
the question is it true? So I'm saying that when you look at the colonial period, this was not an act of one European nation and over here. We're talking about groups of Europeans,
the race for Africa,
all collaborating in this effort, and imposing.
Collaborating.
Definitely.
I thought they had conflicts between who
They did have conflicts.
restaurants.
For example, in the 1800s, when they were looking to colonize Africa, the British were fighting the French were fighting the Spanish, the Spanish were fighting the Germans, who just about developed the nation a couple of decades earlier.
Yeah, right.
Right. So think about it now. The Germans just get a nation, and one of the first thing they tried to do is colonize Africa. Right. Now, so what happens is Prince von Bismarck, calls the Berlin Conference, and says, well, let's not war each other over the spoils of African nations. Let's collaborate, And so that was the peace solution, for Europeans. So it's collaborative.
Okay.
Prior to that, the collaboration was done under the authority of the Catholic Church. The Pope settled disputes between nations in terms of how they can enslave, who they can enslave, what portions of the planet Earth was whose, and them kind of things there. So I'm saying this was a collaborative effort among European nations.
Oh, yeah, cool, yeah.
And they did it based upon the idea of supremacy of whiteness.
I'm not sure about that. Maybe it was about...
There was a precise ideology
of supremacy of whiteness.
Of supremacy. If you look at the videos of Mussolini, before invading Libya, and
when I get the opportunity, my friend, I will.
Ethiopia.
They were spreading all these videos that the Africans are savages because they cut the skin, in some tribes.
Whiteness. So that's what whiteness is.
It doesn't make any sense. Is it not just different culture?
No.
Why do you have to call it by a color? Why is it not a cultural
You would have
observation?
to ask your white ancestors that.
That's an absurd statement.
Why? It was white people that developed the ideology of whiteness, that imposed an idea of whiteness on people. So for me to call it, to problematize me calling it whiteness is to deny and deflect from the issue.
Is it?
No, because it's not African people that centralize whiteness for white people. White people centralize whiteness and impose that on African people. So in the response, African people identify whiteness as the ideas and the composite character of the ideas that have been used to oppress African people.
You said African people, so all people that look like you think like you, and all people that look like me think like me. Is that not like as racist as you could be?
No,
you're missing the point. For example,
a pretty good point.
If Britain colonizes,
people shake heads.
If Britain colonizes,
logic.
If Britain colonizes a nation, right? Britain colonizes the nation. Okay. When the people that are colonized are not necessarily concerned with whether every individual Briton, is in support of the colonization.
They're concerned on being exploited
by a nation. Right?
I understand.
There are some people of the colonized nation that collaborate with the colonization, and there are those that fight against it.
But do they distinguish?
But are they in that dynamic? Is anybody any less colonized?
Well, the people who are colonized are still colonized.
Exactly,
yes.
whether they collaborate or not, right?
But does that mean that I have a share of guilt of an action I didn't do?
Why are we talking about guilt for?
Well, that's appropriate, is it not?
I'm not asking
if you're saying whiteness.
To be honest, I'm not really concerned with whether you're guilty or not. I have no consideration for your guilt. I don't really care. I'm saying you're asking me questions, so I'm giving you answers.
Weakness. That's the only thing to understand.
And the point is that oppression is generally speaking not individual to individual. It's group to group. Groups oppress groups.
But if one white nation like Britain colonizes a African nation, does that make every other person around the planet who's white be judged the same way?
But my point is that these are infantile questions that colonized people don't have time for, right? And see, even the questions it's true. Even the questions,
that's interesting.
The questions that you're asking me,
it's an infantile question.
It is.
That we don't have time to answer. So a pertinent question is not worthy of time.
No, it is.
Maybe that's telling, man.
It is. You know why? Because. And this is the dynamic that I was speaking to you earlier, in the sense of the fact that we have a system, right, that is built upon
that allows everyone to talk freely.
I'm not trying to infringe upon your
speech. Well, you don't allow to.
But it's such a bad system, right?
You're speaking freely.
Such a terrible system.
You're speaking freely, so nobody's infringing on your speech.
You know what? Right? You know the point I'm making.
Let me make the point I'm making.
If you interrupt continually, you don't allow freedom of speech.
Who's doing the interrupting?
Let me finish.
Let him finish his concept.
Let him finish.
What I'm saying is, groups oppress groups.
Maybe because you've got something to say.
When one group oppresses another group, this is what I speak. Before you came, I made this point right at the beginning when I came in the conversation, which is the fact that we live in a society, that historically is built upon an idea of white supremacy, and the dominant sensibility tends to be when black people begin to resist, to question black resistance rather than white oppression, So none of the questions that you're asking me, interrogate the criminality of European people and Europe.
You weren't concerned with guilt a minute ago.
I'm not concerned with guilt. I'm making a point. Here I'm saying.
You said whiteness.
Yeah. But I've already explained that. White people develop an ideology and a philosophy.
It's not just Europeans that are white, but go ahead.
White people develop an ideology and a philosophy based upon the supremacy of whiteness and all things white. So white people and white culture, yes? And so,
what's the name of these philosophy?
They call it many things, but I'm saying that.
I mean, yeah, okay, but you cannot define it. I mean,
I can define it. I am defining it right now.
That's fine. Keep going.
It's my view.
It's white people who came up with the term white supremacy, right? You understand it?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You're talking as though I come up with the white supremacy.
Hold on.
I am judging. No, my ancestors were put through a process whereby they were taught systematically that you are black, ugly, devilish, barbaric, and savage. And we are white, pure, good, holy, and sanctified. That is a process that white people impose on black people. And so, black people identify that dynamic and that process as whiteness. Why? Because we were taught by white people to revere all things white. So this is not my definition and my designation. This is white people's designation. So why are you asking me? Then don't ask me. Then don't ask me why I call it whiteness. Ask your ancestors. Pour a libation and resurrect Cecil Rhodes and resurrect Livingstone and resurrect Leopold. Yeah, and resurrect Bartholomew de las Casas and resurrect all of them and ask them why they did it. Don't ask me.
Calling it whiteness is as ridiculous as how you guys get all upset when you're called black. Because
if it is ridiculous,
whenever the black.
First of all, I don't get upset when I'm called black.
Hear me out.
Black is beautiful. Look at his skin. It's beautiful skin.
Let me finish.
Yeah. There's nothing to be ashamed of right
Whenever
here.
there's been a conversation about black people, I hear most blacks say, "Do you know what black even means? Is he black? Is he black? Is he black?" You talk about melanin.
You're referring to a conversation that is an in-house conversation among black people.
When it suits you.
And a lot of that,
doesn't actually mean much.
And a lot of that is the result, yeah.
So you're happy judging the entire.
But you're saying I made it again. You're missing the process here. You're saying I made a judgment, and I said whiteness.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, no. Hold on.
You're not even just saying Europeans. It goes beyond just geography.
What I am saying is that European people. What I am saying is that European people.
European people
European
fascists.
Like what shades of.
We are not all the same.
No, I'm not saying. When were you all the same or not?
I'm not a fascist.
When were you all the same or not? When they came to Africa, the Africans was not differentiating between who's a fascist or not. Right? Hold on. And the Europeans that came did not differentiate between fascist Europeans, Christian Europeans, non-fascist Europeans. Listen please.
No, you're not listening to what he's saying.
What about the Arabs?
I've listened many times. I've answered it many times already. I'm going to say it one more time and one more time alone.
You want to step in, brother? You want to step in?
I'm going to say it one more time alone.
Yeah.
European people come. Yes? They tell us that white is beautiful, good, holy, and sanctified. White, yes, based upon the color of their skin, they impose a system of oppression upon black people, based upon the color of their skin, yes, and the culture, so their own phenotype, yeah. The European, the nose that is more common to European people is the most beautiful nose on the planet. The skin color that is more common to European people is the most beautiful skin color on the planet. The food, the religion,
my friend, I'm not
the clothing. If you're not denying,
I'm not denying there was a power.
Then you're Then your non-denial should lead you to the understanding of why the term whiteness is used.
No, but it would be ignorant to judge the entire shade of white on that.
But I said whiteness as an ideology, a philosophy. That's what I said.
You said white people. Like
I said whiteness as an ideology and a philosophy.
So people.
And again, see, that's what I'm saying. This is what we don't have time for.
So you agree that people who are white but not from Europe are innocent? Or should they be judged the same way?
White folks are the supporters.
Sorry, who are the white people that are not from Europe?
Fascism is strictly racism.
So is communism.
Yeah, okay, and so for example, from an African context, right? When it comes to the flow of African history, Persians were among the first to
you lived under the Gulag.
Well, that goes back. We're talking about slavery, no?
No, we're talking about whiteness.
We could talk about the Arabs too.
Yeah, exactly. We can. Yeah,
what about what they've done?
We can. Yeah, but in terms of talking about whiteness, the issue is not. No, but the issue is not whether each individual white person is good or bad. Right? This is nonsense.
How comes when you say this, when you talk about whiteness as an idea,
yes,
how comes individuals always personalize this concept?
Never want to do it.
Is there a guilt there, something that we need to discuss? Is that the next chapter? Because the brothers talk about
Are you a
ideas.
psychologist?
I might be. Who knows? Right?
Are you projecting yourself?
Maybe.
Maybe you
I'm
are.
trying to expand the conversation.
It could be.
Maybe. Should we go there?
Should we?
His question is relevant based upon.
Is my question relevant?
No, it is relevant.
So
but so is the counterpoint.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, but I'm saying you can join and you can join that. It's up to you.
What's
right?
interesting
But
that nobody is denying the dynamic that I speak of, but few people tend to interrogate.
We're not denying history, but
right?
how you're
exactly.
taking it further.
So then, if you understand history, yeah, then my response to the imposition of whiteness on my people is not the issue.
Yeah.
The response. You just come. I've been defining whiteness for the last 15 minutes.
He defined it more or
I'll
less,
find it
but it's still
I've been defining for the last
contentious.
15 minutes.
intriguing that
There's nothing contentious about what I'm.
In my view, it's contentious.
But you notice though that my definition of whiteness is more contentious than the imposition of whiteness on black people.
What?
My definition of whiteness seems to be more of a problem. Yeah,
I'm not so
presupposing what.
I think we've covered that.
No,
we just talked about.
Again, there is no presupposition. There is no presupposition. You know why? Because my people have 500 years of evidence for exactly what it is I'm saying. Go
What
on.
about the Arabs?
Is there a more accurate?
They're
Are
included.
they white?
Is there a more accurate?
Are they white?
There are people that will class them as white. Yes. But go
Is
ahead.
there a more
But you know they
accurate
weren't white, and they
identifier
still-
than whiteness for your?
Okay, you're gonna have to ask white people ancestors that. What I am saying is, when they came to us,
Is it possible
listen
for me
please,
to disavow
listen
the
please,
beliefs
listen please, listen
my
please.
ancestors?
It's possible, and I would encourage you to do so.
So
right?
you're
What was
not
it called?
lumping me in
Right?
with that
But
then?
listen. But you should be less concerned whether I'm lumping you in with it, and whether you yourself are contributing to it or not. Don't concern yourself with that. If, put it this way, I'm sorry, I'm not here. Yeah, to alleviate white guilt. I'm not gonna do it. It's not my job. Yeah, I'm saying if white people come, no, but my point is that that's what he's asking me to do when he asked me about him personally and whether he can disavow it or not. I'm not interested in whether he disavows it or not. I'd encourage it. Disavow it, yes, but that's not my concern. We're having a conversation here, and I'm talking about a historical experience in which white people impose, yeah, a system of oppression
Imposed or imposed?
But it's not white
imposed
people, though.
and imposed.
So it's not finished.
Oh yes, definitely, very much.
So it's relevant today.
So it's not about color, really. It's about a group of people who have maybe a superior technology at that point in time.
You're
who
not
exploited
wrong.
one another.
You
Are you
are
telling me?
not
Let me ask
wrong.
you a question.
You're not
Are
wrong.
you telling me if Europe didn't exist, Africa would be full of peace? You'll all be treating each other nicely. Is that
This is a ridiculous. That's not doing anything.
Because
Very relevant.
Because you're making this about color.
All right,
You're making
I'm
this about color.
gonna come back to that. I'm gonna come back to that question. I'm gonna deal with your last statement first. You said I'm making it about color. Again, you keep, listen. No. You cannot tell me that I am making it about color.
You know why?
When it was white people that came up with the designation of whiteness and imposed it on black people.
You know what's funny? Because
no,
on that point,
white people made it about color.
Do you know what's funny?
Hold on.
Just
Will
on
you
that
accept?
point, just on
Will you
that
accept
point,
that white people made it about
just
color?
on that point, I told you what about the Persians or the Arabs? And then you completely avoided the color. You just said, oh, but they also
However you word that, I'm not interested. However you word that for white people,
so it's not
that's
just about
fine.
white people.
Say again?
We talked about the Arabs and the Persians too.
As far as
They're not Europeans.
as far as
And you just ignored it.
as far as
Oh, it doesn't fit your narrative.
Large scale slavery was from the
I'm gonna
white
answer you.
race.
I'm gonna answer you.
Full
As
stop.
far as
large scale 400 years of slavery
this is what I'm trying to say.
from the
As
white.
far as listen.
Don't
As far
mumbo jumbo.
you're not right. You're not going to get me, yeah. To
He's very clearly talking about European whites.
but first of
We're
all,
also talking about
sir.
Persians.
First of all, bear in mind that you came into a conversation, yeah, and things happened before you came here. So what I was talking about when you came in, right, was predicated upon the flow of the conversation. That's the first thing. The second thing is, personally, and if you've seen me before, you would know this. I'm not really a defender of any form of invasion against African people, right? That's not what I'm about. What we're talking about, for example, what the Persians did is specific to the Persians. Yeah? What the Arabs did is specific to the Arabs. If we are having a discussion about Europe and European people, and we're discussing that conversation is valid in and of itself. One second. You don't justify European or deflect from what the Europeans did by telling me that the Persians did this and the Arabs did that. Yeah? That's nonsense. So if we're talking about the specificity of what Europeans did, yeah? Europeans came with an ideology and ideas that they imposed upon people based upon the dominant characteristic, which was skin color. Yes? That's what they did. So they...
I accept, listen, I can accept
How can I back it up?
But for you to respond to say you have the right,
there are several
typical
drivers behind that.
Yeah, go on. What are the drivers? Yeah.
Religion.
Religion was an expression of whiteness.
Middle Eastern religion.
Christianity, which is what was imposed on us by the Europeans that came,
is a Middle Eastern religion.
What's the point?
Well, it's not a whiteness thing.
But I'm saying, when it was brought to African people by Europeans, it was posed as an expression of whiteness. We were taught that the Christian religion, coming from the people that, listen please.
Religion only for white people.
See, I'm saying, we were taught that the people that were imposing this religion upon us were superior to us, and this religion was an expression of their superiority.
Okay. So what about
the entire
by that point? Yeah, that's a
entire European population responsible?
So, for example, you all know the history already. There was a point at which Rome was against Christianity. Rome adopted Christianity. At that point, Christianity becomes the religion, the dominant religion of European people.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a fact. That was centuries before.
Mainly Southeastern Europe. We don't look like Western Europeans. We're not white.
Personally, like I said, I'm not. You lot can battle over how you dissect white people. I'm not interested.
Should the average African have all this kind of anger against the average European, even though the European...
Your question should be, should European people be maintaining and sustaining systems of oppression against African people?
Can I say something here?
That's what your question should be.
Are all Europeans accountable for the maybe the elite ruling powers?
I personally...
No, I am not on your ranks. I think differently.
Personally, European accountability is not my concern.
Would you consider
when you have a view on whiteness, you're not just talking
about...
No,
it's not... Again, you're calling it my view on whiteness. I am responding to a condition, yeah, that African people have been subjected to as a result of this oppression.
Is whiteness an ideology?
Definitely.
Well,
and all
white supremacy is an ideology.
And all white people have that view.
Again, you're asking me about to individualize.
I don't recognize that you are.
Do you have that view? Right?
I don't.
Then that's on you. That's the point.
Going in circles.
Right? Because going around in circles. Personally, I don't care
about whiteness. You bring everyone into the equation, right?
Okay, let me put it like this. When white people came and said white skin and white culture is superior to black culture, they weren't differentiating between white people that believe in white supremacy or don't believe in white supremacy. They just said white people, yeah? Right? They didn't come and say, well, some white people are superior to black people. They said all white people are superior to black people. That's what they said, right? They didn't differentiate between the working class and the lower class. Right?
Guys, we've gone around circles like 20 times.
My point, when the British came, yeah, and they imposed British colonization on black people, they didn't differentiate between lower class Brits and the aristocracy. They said the Brits are superior.
Let me help out. This brother is going to go in circles. So it's about you. It's not about the idea.
That's what I'm trying to say.
It's about you.
I'm not interested in your personal gripe.
So maybe we can take it forward because we've gone in circles quite a number of times. So maybe we can present a different point.
I will bring my chair.
Yeah, on Messenger. Can I give one input into this?
Yeah, go on.
That's right. Alternate views are terrible. You should purge them all, maybe.
You know what it is? What he's saying, basically, Knight Templars were Christians, but did not follow the Christianity, right? They were completely against the teaching of the Christianity.
No, it's not saying that.
Sorry, no. What I'm saying is,
it's analyzing
under the umbrella
situation of white oppression since the days when the first white band of robbers went to Africa to enslave and steal. That's what he's talking about.
This is what it is, but the normal whites would not do that. Normal whites would not do that.
I repeat,
the people.
My personal concern is not white accountability. It'd be wise to be accountable. It'd be just. It would be humane. But that's not my concern.
That's it.
It's ironic, but many of these early Europeans who invaded Latin America and who initiated the slave trade
wouldn't be considered white by white supremacists because they were.
That's possible.
They were dark Portuguese.
That's possible.
Spaniards.
That's possible. But they still went there with a white ideology and a white mind and wiped out entire populations of people. Yeah, in the name of supremacy. It doesn't happen all the time. I'm sorry. Again, you're dealing with the universality of whiteness.
There's ISIS. I don't see many Muslims supporting it. People use ideology to exploit others.
ISIS have not been anywhere and wiped out an entire entire of people. ISIS have not been anywhere and wiped out an entire population of people.
What are you talking about? You don't
They
recognize
may have tried. All that means is that the Europeans were more successful at it than ISIS. That's what that means.
Right.
That's
so
what that
maybe,
means.
So maybe all people do it, but they were just successful.
So what you're trying to get me, what you're trying to get me to do?
I'm not getting you to do anything.
Right?
Like Africans are not exploiting
What your point is not to address the reality of what's been happening and what's going on.
Oh no, we already accepted
You just want me
history.
to admit that everybody has the potential
of course
to be a great genocidal, murderous group of people.
We see it in Africa all the time. Oh, that's we have to blame the whites for that. Oh, yes.
How do you want to run this, right? Yeah. Someone's been attacked there, right, by a particular person. Yeah. Do we say, well,
the person that's being attacked also has the potential to attack the person who's attacking them. So let us not address.
Or someone else could do it.
Yeah, or someone else could do it.
Yeah.
So let's not address the attacker right now.
Someone actually is doing it.
Yeah.
You know why you're not attacking you're not addressing the attacker?
Why?
Because you're overgeneralizing.
But I'm not. But I'm not.
You're painting all white people.
No, but I haven't said anything about white people. What I'm saying is, listen. What I'm saying is, yeah. Europeans come.
West Europeans.
Yes.
Western Europeans.
Fine. However you want to that's
no,
it up.
because
however you want to
you can't address the problem unless you define exactly.
What I'm saying to you is.
Let me jump in. The people who did this said whiteness. Yeah.
Exactly.
They said it.
They didn't differentiate.
As the victims of this,
all whites responsible.
But your argument.
My argument is not about responsibility.
It's not
I haven't made an argument about responsibility. But I have not made an argument. But I have not made an argument about responsibility.
There are many blacks.
But I have not made an argument about responsibility.
Hold on. So there's no responsibility.
I haven't made an argument about responsibility. That's not the argument that I was bringing forward. That's not the argument I was bringing forward. What I'm saying now, when white people came, they didn't differentiate between Eastern Europeans and Western Europeans, right? So they said white people.
They didn't differentiate, but
they said white people. So I'm saying, fine, but I'm not really that passionate about whether it was a group of white people or the Eastern or European or Western or whatever.
You're talking about the perpetuation.
But you're not saying a group of white people were responsible for this.
And white supremacy, perpetuation. It's being perpetuated.
Definitely, yeah.
But everywhere? No, not everywhere. By certain people in certain countries.
No. I'm saying that white supremacy is a global dynamic.
Developed capitalism.
Exactly.
Right?
What are you talking about?
But it's a fact.
Because they were capitalists.
I'll explain to you. Actually, explain
My
it to
issue
you.
with I don't have. We know what happened historically, right? My issue.
But evidently you don't.
Do you?
No, I don't. You're the expert.
Evidently you don't.
The issue is you're
I'm well studied.
all white people responsible for
I haven't made a blanket categorization of white people.
That's exactly what you
I haven't made a blanket categorization. That's what you heard. That's what you heard.
You could say there was a group of people.
That's what you heard.
What do you want to hear? What do you want to hear? Because I spoke to you
No, I
before.
can't say that. You know why? Because that would be ahistorical. Because that would be ahistorical. I can't say that. You know why? No, I can't. You know why? You know why? But I can't. You know why? You know why?
That's the accurate way to
But I can't. You know why?
Why not?
Why? You know why?
Because you're holding what? The reason I have a problem with that is you're holding all people who are quite innocent, who probably didn't even know what this was happening, responsible. But tell us why.
Responsible is the capitalist system
Let him answer, please.
of
You're
the white.
crap. You're chatting
That is
crap.
the responsible. Oh, you're chatting.
She's not wrong though. She's not wrong. But it's political. We've been discussing politics this whole time. Yeah, it is not apolitical. The reason why what she's saying is true is because capitalism comes into existence as an economic system built upon the exploitation of African people.
That's a statement. So
challenge my statement. Challenge it.
So trading in currency existed before colonialization, right?
Trading did.
With currency.
Trading is not exclusive to capitalism.
Yeah, right.
The
basis of the economic system.
Nor is currency.
Okay, so what's specific about capitalism that's associated with Africa?
Capitalism is an economic system that centralizes and puts a premium on the private ownership of wealth resources and the means of human production.
Slaves,
Yes, and right.
What
does that have
Private ownership of wealth.
Existed before anyone went to
They were
Africa, man.
enslaved
I'm
by
saying-
the white capitalists. Can't you understand that?
Modern
Are you
So-
so
Slavery
sick?
didn't exist
What
under Russia.
what you're
Slavery hasn't existed
conflating? What
in
you're
Rome and
conflating?
history.
What you're conflating is capital with capitalism. Capital can exist without a system that is based fundamentally upon the ownership of capital.
So can we go to your
No, because-
account of holding all whites responsible
But
for what
again,
happened in
huh?
Africa?
So yeah, you know.
They're
Let's go to the main
responsible
point.
because they
Cry for the unit,
support
cry for the unit.
capitalism.
You still enjoying this, Leon?
Again,
He's taking a nosedive.
again, yeah.
They were
What
too
you
ignorant to
when I
fight
speak of whiteness,
capitalism. That's why they are responsible.
You're going to keep repeating yourself, bro.
no. See what you're doing right now
Listen, they
is
fought
you're
capitalism.
redefining my argument to suit your emotions.
Because blacks
right?
get very
Listen,
emotional when I
yes.
hold all of them responsible for
Yeah.
the crimes that happen in London.
What blacks
Yeah.
do you talk
Right?
to? What blacks do you
You,
talk to?
you for one.
Okay.
The moment I ask blacks, he's like,
Now,
define black. Who's black? I'm even a millennial.
And the funny thing is though, but do you know what's good though?
Oh, when he
Do
suits
you know what's
all
good?
whites are
Do you know what's
white.
good?
But when I talk
Do
about
you know what's
Persians
good?
and
It's a
Arabs,
good, it's a
you're
good
like, oh,
point,
that's
man.
What's the good point?
What's the good point? What's the
What
good
he's
point?
describing happens.
Yeah, but again, you see,
Yes.
see, this whole example,
There's plenty of
this
comments
whole,
on COE, man.
but this whole example, this whole conversation, yeah, this whole conversation
brutalization and
is
demonization of a whole race.
a prime example of white supremacy. Yeah, it is.
Listen to this guy. Am
It
I
is.
white?
It
Am
is.
I white?
It is.
Man,
It is.
you're really
It is.
stupid.
It is. Thank you for the compliment.
Once you got a name called,
Right.
yeah,
Thank you for the compliment.
Is he white?
Thank you for the
Hold on a
compliment.
second.
Thank you for the compliment.
What's your name called?
Let me explain why.
Is he white or
Let me
black?
explain why.
Is
Can
he
I
white or
explain
black?
why?
Let me explain why.
Is he white or
Let me
black?
explain why. Let me explain
No,
why.
no, no. Before
Let me
you
explain
go
why.
any
I'm
more-
speaking, so I'm going to finish what I'm going to say. What I'm saying.
Too cold.
All right. The reason being is because, as I said before, we're discussing a condition of oppression.
A condition of any
Listen,
question
please.
that you
Listen,
can't
please.
answer, you call it
Listen,
white
please.
supremacy.
Listen, please. We're discussing a condition of oppression in which one group of people impose oppression on another group of people based upon the idea of white supremacy. And your primary concern,
Oh, is it?
is my response.
sure?
Yeah, and black people's
careful.
response to, yeah, the condition of being oppressed by white supremacy than the oppression of white supremacy in and of itself. That, to me, is a prime example of white supremacy.
Yes,
It suggests, yeah, that the emotions and the sensibilities
I'm
of
very
white
emotional.
people, yeah, in response to black people speaking about the oppression by white people is more important, yeah, than the oppression that black people are actually facing.
Thank you.
Man,
Man, you're shouting for real, man.
are you serious?
I'm projecting my voice. We're in Speaker's Corner.
I know. It's just,
you know,
Once again,
I'll ask
voice
you
projection
again.
is
I'll ask you
is
again.
important.
So last time.
I want to make a statement too.
Listen,
Yeah.
just for the last
Because we need to address that.
Yeah, we can.
All
Let's
white
just see.
people,
It's a bit
all white
contentious.
European white people responsible.
Again,
For their
you've asked me this many times.
Yes,
I'm not going down that road. I'm sorry. I'm not doing it.
So you
Yeah,
don't have
I'm
anything
not
to
doing it.
You
No,
don't have anything to say. That's
because
absolutely fine.
Cool, we can move on.
Let's move on. Let's move on. Yeah, go.
Well, we in this whole thing there, we went round and round and round in circles talking about the history. The interesting thing is, like, the people that have participated here, we don't deny. Nobody's denying the history.
Okay,
it's,
go on.
it's quite important that.
So if you have
right?
to stick to
I'm
what's the point
gonna-
of what I'm saying?
Well, I'm going to continue to speak, right? So we've been going for a while. So we accept this history is there, and it needs to be understood. I would say the key to preventing something from happening again or it continuing is to understand the motivations of it, right?
Yes.
Understand the core of it, where it comes from, and take action to prevent that if we view it as a negative.
Totally.
So I would say something that's really important to recognize is that maybe the idea of being afraid or not liking something that's different from you is a feature that has been shown psychologically to be part of all humans.
Yes.
It can be supported by a culture,
Yes.
it can be elevated, or it could be made
Yes.
not so important.
Yes.
So my argument that I've just made is that it's not related to race,
Yes.
it's related to how people choose to act,
Yes.
no matter where they're from. Right?
No people should oppress another group of people.
Yeah.
I would say that would be ideal.
Yes.
But it's a very difficult thing to achieve because this idea of oppression is an often used word, right? But oppression could simply be me speaking louder than you.
No.
Well,
You're trivializing now.
And it's not
You're trivializing.
No, it's not the purpose of my statement.
No, I'm
saying
saying
that
it is, but you are though.
people. whatever. People are born unequal, right? We're not born equal in terms of our abilities, our intelligence, our looks, or whatever. And we have to deal with that reality. Now, if you build a society that's based on looking at one group as inferior and one group as superior, that can only go bad. Like, obviously.
But I'm saying that we currently live in a society that is based upon that fact.
Okay, you could say it's based upon it, but with things that we have happen, I'm going to keep going. With things that we have happening in this country today, you could say that there's been many, many things changed for the better than our history. And other parts of the world, for that matter, where this concept of really strong racism is very apparent.
You know what? The thing is, I can sympathize.
So it's good. It's good, right?
But the problem is white supremacy and populism has made a comeback in the past 5-10 years.
That's a good point.
So it's actually things are regressing, if anything.
Why is that happening? That's an important.
Why is it happening?
Well, who knows? It's probably a complex, multifaceted problem, isn't it? It's not going to be answered in one statement.
Do you have an idea of why it's happening?
I could think of some things.
Give me some examples why it's happening.
Usually when people are in times of economic stress, they resort to grouping up into smaller and smaller identity groups. That's a human fear response.
So you're saying that white people
like me.
I didn't say white people, man. I said people. I said people, humans.
Well, it's not.
But we're talking about the growth of white supremacy.
No, I'm talking about.
That's what he was just talking about.
I know, mate.
Right. So you attempted to give an explanation as to why that's happening. No. What is happening?
I don't know.
That's what you just did, though. He said. Sorry, excuse me. Let's clarify your point. You said that there's a rise in white supremacist groups in Europe at the moment, yeah?
In Europe and the West.
And the West, yeah? And your response was, the question is, why is that happening, yes?
Bro, man, you're coming at it from a really
I'm asking,
obstinate
I'm trying to clarify what you said.
You're trying to put everything as this, but it's not like that. I'm trying to understand, mate.
By the way,
I'm trying to understand. You see the difference?
Yes. No, I'm trying to clarify something.
Even people of my background are targets.
Yes.
In places like the UK and the US.
I'm going to agree with you.
However, not to the extent that you will.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that.
And I told him to speak.
I have no disagreement with that. I'm not disagreeing with that. Right?
Sorry?
But I'm trying to clarify something because he made a statement.
No.
And you said.
You asked me, do you have any idea why that might be the case?
No.
I said, I don't know. It's a multifaceted problem. There could be a possible solution.
Yes.
And I gave you one possible example.
I asked you what the ideas are because you said then we have to look at why that is. So I'm asking you, well, why is it then?
I gave you one idea.
Right. Now, so then, specific to the example that he gave, are you saying that the rise in white supremacist groups in Western Europe, as he put forward, is a response to economic pressures upon groups of white people?
You just restated my point.
So I'm clarifying. I'm asking you a question.
Why would I need to clarify if I already stated it?
I'm clarifying. I'm asking you a
one
question.
explanation?
Is that what you said? Is that what you're saying?
It's on the recording.
You're
trying to set me up. It's very obvious.
I'm not setting you up for anything.
Well, why do you need to rephrase my question? Rephrase my statement?
No, I was asking you to clarify. You didn't do it. I'm trying to clarify it at the moment. I'm trying to understand what you're saying.
Can you tell him what you meant? Is that a possibility?
I know what he's doing, Rick.
Man, this is very simple. When there is economic stress,
you don't need to be
in maybe a country of predominant color, it can potentially cause certain groups to blame it on the minority.
Say that again.
It's still
I'm
crazy.
saying when there is like an economic decline in certain countries, predominantly of one color, it could be blue.
Yes.
For an ignorant perspective, maybe that they would blame it on the immigrants, on the minorities.
Right.
In the same fashion that in Africa, for example, if there is economic issues, they may, at first point, they might just blame the whites. A bit like Zimbabwe, for example. Maybe a bad example. But the fact
it's a terrible example.
It's a very bad example.
Do you want to go down that road?
You can go there, but the fact is, it's easy to, at step one, which has happened recently, blame their minorities, which happens generally, right?
So let's
those minorities.
Now I'm going to say to you, I'm gonna say to both of you, the level of reasoning and deduction. Listen carefully to that. It's a word of advice.
I don't need advice.
Go.
Take my foolish advice.
I imagine it's going to be quite insulting.
Take my foolish advice. Yeah. The level of reasoning that you all just engaged in, in order to identify why white supremacy groups,
It's an example.
But you're giving an explanation. You're giving an explanation. You're giving a possible explanation as to why groups of white people are turning to white supremacy in Europe.
That's what people do when they try to understand a problem.
I agree.
That's what you want to do.
I agree. So apply that same level of reasoning, and deduction yeah, and understanding, yeah. So why black people might talk about white people in generic terms?
I can accept that. I've never
Good.
denied it. Well, I've had a problem.
You're an intelligent
I've
gentleman.
had a problem.
You're
is
wise.
When you categorically
Very wise.
judge all of them the
Very
same
wise.
way.
Yeah, but that's what you got from the conversation, which is not what I said. So, you know what I'm saying? No, but I'm saying what I'm saying is they demonstrated powers of deduction here just now in relation to white supremacy that they haven't demonstrated for the whole conversation in relation to black people.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'm saying they could do that. They could do that.
Of course it is, because if I judge like you by the same way ISIS I would, you would have a problem with that. You would say, oh,
You would, no,
but
to
no,
me, I would look at you as an ignorant man.
Exactly.
No,
I would
no
be
problem.
ignorant. I would be.
As someone that is ignorant.
I would be ignorant if I did
It was
that.
beautiful what just happened.
That's
Yeah,
absolutely what
the gentleman brought in the rise of white supremacy into the thing, and immediately there was an attempt to give an explanation. Yeah, as to why.
Because that's
right. As to why. And I'm saying, Oren, and I've been in this whole conversation, you know. Yeah, I've been talking. They've been questioning me, you know, about why I use terms like whiteness, yeah, to describe the ideology, yeah, that has been imposed upon black people because it was based upon the supremacy of whiteness. They couldn't understand that, but immediately they could understand why groups of white people would turn to white supremacy. It's beautiful. It was poetic. The way how the level of comprehension.
Because of the single reason behind.
There are many.
What I'm saying is, this whole conversation they've been questioning me, you know, on my use of the term whiteness. Yeah. That's what they've been questioning me on, you know. Right, yeah. You said, but we have to admit that there's a rise in white supremacy. Immediately, reasonings and deduction and reason as to why explanations came out, but they couldn't understand for about 45 minutes now why I use the term whiteness. That's interesting, don't you think?
The issue was your response.
Don't you think that's interesting?
No,
because
no,
when
really.
I gave
Because
you
you're
the
using a
example,
term that we don't use in
It's not
common.
interesting.
You
don't.
Do you want me to answer it?
You don't use it.
It's quite
Who's
evident
me?
that you're not interested in having a
intelligent discussion. I've been discussing with you for however long now, so
nah, but it's,
I don't know why you would say that.
But it's your whole attitude, man.
I don't know why you would say that.
It's the grin, it's the stance.
I'm an intelligent, charismatic black man. You just have to deal with it,
so
bro. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. You know what I'm saying?
It could be that, or it could be giving a false front.
You know what I'm saying?
It could be a persona.
It could be.
It could be something that pushes a hidden agenda.
It really could be.
Couldn't it?
Or it just mean it could just be my African genes are
It could
flamboyant and beautiful.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? And
so
charismatic.
there's another potential solution. There's another
You know.
potential solution to this idea that you're pushing.
Yes.
Is that it's a power move and it's a scapegoat, because this idea.
What's the power move? Sorry. What's the power move?
This idea of white supremacy is something that you already said in the conversation. You couldn't tell me what a situation would look like without it. How would
I can. But sorry, just clarify before I answer. What's the power move? What do you mean?
It means.
No. What are you saying is the power move?
Okay.
Yeah.
Quite simple. You set up a scapegoat, the white man. You say all the problems are because of the white man. How do you solve this problem of white supremacy? You can't. So group up in my group of Pan-Africans, and we'll do our own thing.
Okay. Now you're correct and you're incorrect. Right. You're correct. You're correct and you're incorrect. Yeah. You're correct that it's a power move. You're incorrect that it's a scapegoat.
It works that way though, doesn't it? Because how can we solve your problem? It's intractable.
Now we get to that. Now we get to the heart of your delusion. I'm not asking you to solve my problem.
I didn't say you were,
right.
But you're presenting a problem and using it as a scapegoat so you can further your agenda.
I'm not. I know. You're referring to it as a scapegoat, and I'm saying that it is a power move. So you're correct in saying that my intention is to empower black people, empower African people.
Oh, empower is different from.
No, it's a power move.
Okay.
Yeah, we are looking to grab power. So, for example, you see Africa. Yeah, African people should have power in Africa.
Yeah,
and to the extent.
Do I disagree with you? I don't even disagree with you.
I haven't suggested that you do.
Why don't they?
I haven't suggested that you do.
But
to the extent. Listen, please. Listen. You might learn something. To the extent. Yeah. To the extent that Europeans currently have power in Africa, Africans have to grab that power from Europeans. It's definitely a power grab. Yeah, I agree with you. It's definitely a power grab. To call it a scapegoat, again, it's to belittle, and to deflect, and to negate.
You're saying it's not. I'm saying it is.
Let's explore the accuracy.
There.
Let's explore the accuracy of the statement. Yeah, because to scapegoat, what is a scapegoat? Define scapegoat for me.
You know what it is. They can look it up.
we're having a conversation, so it's sometimes important to define terms so that we have an understanding.
Sure, but it's a common word, isn't it?
It is, but sometimes we need clarity in a conversation. So, for example, go on.
Something you use to put all of the blame
Yes.
onto a select group
Yes.
to justify an action or a
To
superiority
justify an
movement.
action, a superiority movement.
That's also possible.
So
White supremacy.
So to clarify, what you're saying is that people like myself, are putting the blame on white people to
Potentially.
justify hatred for white people.
It could be that, but
Right.
not necessarily hatred.
Right.
But it could be to do something else
Yeah, no, you're
that might not
correct.
be justifiable without that.
That wouldn't be justifiable without that.
Yeah,
Okay.
it'd be hard to justify without that.
Okay.
Like the feminists in the patriarchy, it's the
The,
same
the,
idea.
the problem with the term scapegoat is that it suggests that the condition that is being referred to is fallacious.
Yes. Right.
Yeah, it's fabricated.
That's true.
Yeah. Right. So let's explore that then.
Maybe
yeah?
it's not entirely
Let's
fabricated.
explore that then. Let's explore that.
Sure.
Yeah. So the Pan-Africanist is fighting against European domination of African people, African land, and African resources.
Not just that though.
What though? What?
Not just that though.
Go on, add to it if you want to add to it.
From my understanding,
Yes.
it's also
Yes.
trying to establish
Yes.
a Negro state.
Negro state. Interesting terminology.
Negro state.
Yeah, interesting terminology.
Yeah.
Interesting terminology. Interesting terminology.
And I know why I said it.
I know why you said it. I know why you
I
said
watched
it.
a video of you saying that the Arabs were invading.
They were invaders.
Exactly.
They were
So
invaders.
if you believe that,
Yeah.
which obviously I'm on the other
By the
side
way,
of that
for the
coin.
gentleman behind you, can you just clarify that I said that you heard me say that the Arabs were invaders a long time ago? For the gentleman behind you, can you just clarify that you heard me say that the Arabs were invaders to Africa a long time ago?
Man, Africa has been invaded by many.
Exactly. Yes.
For you,
Exactly.
for you,
Exactly.
the whites
How do you know? How do you know? How do you know? Why do you ask? Why do you ask? Why do you ask? Why do you ask? Yeah, we were discussing whiteness. We were discussing whiteness, so I was focusing on white people. Yeah, we were discussing whiteness.
Yeah, go on,
Yeah? Right.
I think we've done that.
Yeah,
We've done that stuff.
keep going circles.
He doesn't understand this. It's cool. All right. What's it? Right. So,
But that is your agenda, though. Like, let's,
no, I'm going to take exception to the word Negro state. Yes.
no. The reason why I say that, the reason I say
I
that,
know why you say it. I'm saying. But in fact, to be honest with you,
I don't even like these words.
right. That's what I'm trying to say. In whatever context they're going to tell me about Negro state, I take exception to it.
You mean a black
So you-
African,
so wait,
a unified black African
you do
state?
agree
A
Is that what
yes.
you're
So you do
referring
agree
Yes.
to? On that
No, I don't agree with
On
you.
that point,
What's it? 'Cause that's fine. Right. So, what we're interrogating is the extent to which Pan-Africanists are using European oppression as a scapegoat or not. Right? That's what we're interrogating right about now. Yeah. So I'm saying that when it comes down to it, we're talking about 400 years of enslavement. Yeah. 100 years of colonization. Yeah. To this point, we're talking about what Kwame Nkrumah defined as neo-colonization, which is a system in which you have black heads of state, yeah, but the economic policy of a nation is governed from outside of the state by Europeans, which is a fact. One second, which is a fact because, for example, if we have a situation in which in African nations that have resources, the people of those nations don't own and control the resources. They don't define the price, yeah, of the resources, yeah, them kind of things. There, it suggests that those resources are being controlled by people outside.
So like the Chinese.
What do you mean?
What do you think about the Chinese
Now,
by the introduction of China in Africa?
But what you're doing now.
No, it's an interesting point.
Yeah, it is an interesting point.
Is that yellow
But what's
vest?
even more interesting is the fact that what you're actually doing at the moment is scapegoating, right? That's what you're actually doing at the moment.
No, it's
right?
not.
Yeah, you are.
You already defined what the word means, so that's not what-
yeah,
that's
but
not
you
what's
are
occurring.
because I am talking about European commandeering, yeah, and control of Africa, yes, which is based upon the colonization, and you're now attempting to be what you mean like China.
Well, they're
Now,
doing the same, are they not?
No, they're just
if China are doing the same, they had some very good teachers in Europe. But
right, I see.
No,
We're the original. I think we're the original evil.
No. So what? No, I'm not a fan of China in Africa. I'm not a fan of China in the Caribbean.
Of course you are.
course you are.
I'm not a fan of China. One second. But to whatever extent China owns and control resources in Africa currently, they have a long way to go to catch up with Europe. A very long way to go.
You refer to Pan-Africans.
Are they on the process?
You refer to Pan-Africans.
Yeah, definitely. I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that.
You refer to Pan-Africans.
Yes.
But you, as someone of African origin who lives in the UK, what is your agenda for Black Africans or West Indians in the UK?
African people, wherever we are,
African people
wherever we are, need to be organising, to develop ourselves.
So you don't have a similar agenda to the, I think it was the Nation of Islam from the 1930s, 40s, who did aim to establish a Black African state within the territory of the United States.
I think that where black people exist in different places, just like everybody else does, we should establish communities.
Okay, so not have an independent political community in...
I have no interest in having an independent black nation within Britain.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think that black people should organise wherever we are as communities, just like everybody else does. But our national base should be the continent. That's my ideology.
Shut the light.
The African continent.
You just took it around.
You mean the African? You mean African?
Yes.
I have a question about Pan-Africanism as you see it, because I'm not so familiar with the concept or how you imagine it. So this idea of Pan-Africanism, how does it work in, let's say, in Africa? Because as you already have nations established in Africa, maybe the borders were drawn by the colonizers. Maybe is the case.
Not maybe, it's a fact. It's definitely the case.
Okay, I'm not trying to dispute it. I'm just speaking in terms. So, what would be the plan with that? Because maybe the people would want to be nationalist. Because I've heard that Africa is the most racially diverse place on the planet, with their tribal groups and different ethnicities within the continent, as it's very large.
Race and tribe are not the same thing.
Well, obviously, but you understand. I'm going to finish my point. You understand the point I'm trying to make?
No.
It's very diverse.
Yeah,
so I'm saying, so how do you organise them? Can you organise them? Can you organise them? This Pan-African thing isn't one super state, or is it individual states that cooperate? What do you have in mind?
He's trying to say he wants to decolonise Africa.
Basically, yeah.
Well, decolonisation
years and then start.
I want to hear his answer.
Right? But hold on. So the answer to that question is a Pan-African conversation. There are many different aspects to it. There is no one idea, so it's impossible for me to answer that for you.
You don't have an idea of it.
My point is that there are many ideas.
But what's yours?
Your idea is very clear.
Hold on. What I'm saying is, one second. What I'm saying is, right? The one of the things, for example, it is. One fundamental thing, however, is that the colonial borders, as they currently stand, are not viable.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So decolonize. Yeah. So decolonization in terms of the borders, decolonization in terms of language. Yeah, because in practically every African nation, a foreign language is the language of instruction, the language of politics, and the language of trade. Yeah, and that
could be a good thing. It allows you to trade with the world.
I can understand why a colonizer might say that. However,
now that's just logic, man. That's just economic logic.
It's colonial logic.
Actually,
that makes sense.
Why does everybody?
It's colonial logic. That makes sense.
Should we want to learn a language of a country that you want to trade with?
Again. Learning a language.
Of course, man.
Yes, I'm saying. No. See, again. No. Hold on. But I'm not even saying that. I'm not even saying that.
It's hard to trade if you don't speak.
I'm not even saying that. One second. Sorry, one second.
If you get rid of the
What I'm
language,
saying,
you're moving in that direction.
I am personally open to the idea that cutting off certain trade ties might be necessary for a period of time. What I am saying is that trading with the world is not something that I'm averse to. What I am saying is that the current trade relationships that exist between Africa and the rest of the world are exploitative.
Oh yeah, I would agree with that. Absolutely.
Right. That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, change that if you can, for sure.
There's a difference between learning a foreign language and a foreign language being the dominant language in your nation. It's a very different thing. There's no way Britain, would have even French being the language that children are taught in schools. Nonsense. It would never happen. No, Britain, they teach French in schools, but they teach French in English.
It's interesting. I've never met somebody from African continent who's lived there now that is monolingual. I've met many. They're all bilingual, trilingual, and that's a great thing.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
So keep that.
But what I'm saying is not an argument against multilinguality.
No. It's a choice thing, isn't it? You're saying it wasn't.
I'm saying that all people, for the same reason why the British would not accept French as the language of instruction in its schools, is the same reason why Africans should not accept English, French, Spanish or Portuguese as the language of instructions in African education institutions.
Because of the history?
No, yes, principally, but even outside of the history, like no people take on the language of another people as their primary language. It doesn't even make any sense.
But one possible side effect of this would be a rise in African nationalism if African nations reverted to the individual languages that they speak as the only official language.
But this is the point I'm trying to make.
Countries. For example, all right. Congolese.
Yes.
Or
but there is no, there is no language called Congolese. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There are various languages in the Congo.
So which one dominates?
Right? Okay. Now
so you're going to have
why is it go this way?
Yeah.
So you don't argue with English as being imposed on people. When they try to recreate your own culture, there's going to be war, arguments, fighting.
I'm just saying there's one possible side of it.
No, but the point is...
Make it simple. Pan-Africanism, we say Kiswahili is a good language.
But that's only East Africa.
No, it's not only East Africa. That's the point.
It's not West Africa.
But it's not about imposing. He's giving one of the most popular ideas among Pan-Africanists is that Kiswahili being the most widely spoken... Sir? Kiswahili is the language.
It's partly based on Arabic.
Yeah, in the language, they refer to the language as Kiswahili.
Yeah, but it's partly based on Arabic. It's a lingua franca that was semi-artificial. It evolved through interaction with Arabic, mainly in East Africa.
Again, I'm not going to get into that right now. You know why? No, here I'm saying. There are debates and discussions around Swahili, around the validity of different languages and so on and so forth. Yeah.
So you think that
some say we should create evolve a new language in altogether.
For every it's the most spoken language.
It's the most widely spoken language.
For every sub-Saharan African country.
On that basis, it should
I have a question.
No. Can I clarify something? This is not a hard and fast decision that has been made. It's a suggestion, and it's a popular one.
I had another
suggestion. One second. Because hold on, but because
that's a conversation we can have.
So for example, in East and Central Africa, for example, East, Central and Southern Africa, there are large groups of people that speak Swahili or variations of it. Yeah, it's one of the as far as but a lot of Somalis do. A lot of Somalis do speak. Yeah, a lot, and as well as the consideration of the fact that apparently it is one of the easier languages to learn, and because it has historically and because it has historically been a trade language, on that basis, you know what I'm saying? So there are a number of different arguments. Some people challenge that point of view, and so my point is that you're asking me questions that among Pan-Africanists, there are variations of different questions.
Are you a Pan-Africanist? Are you a Pan-Africanist?
I am, yes.
So one suggestion, question I had was, if I understand it correctly, you're of West Indian background.
I'm from African background.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, but in the West Indies.
Heritage.
Yes.
West Indian
it's called
heritage.
the West Indies.
West Indies.
No, I'm from African parentage.
There was fairly recently, genetic studies were conducted.
Yes.
According to which, people from the West Indies, they, as a result of slavery and having been transplanted from their native lands
and raped for generations,
they are actually more. They exhibit their genes genes from all over West Africa rather than individual African.
You're correct.
Do you think that is an advantage for you, so you can see beyond the African nationalisms, because you don't identify with one particular African group, but you identify as African in general, as a result partly of the fact the history of slavery has disconnected you and your parents, your grandparents, from any particular ethnic.
All right, it's a good question. It's an excellent question. I would say that the advantage comes not from the fact that Europeans
of course,
but more because our people in those regions of the world were able to form and merge a culture out of that experience.
In the West Indies,
in the Caribbean, yes. So, for example, it would not have been possible if people from different groups, family, what's it called? It wouldn't have been possible if people from different groups were perpetually fighting against each other.
Absolutely.
Right? It took for those people to understand their sameness, their commonality, and them kind of things there, and merge. So the culture of Africans in the Caribbean was not a consequence of the work of the enslaver, but the consequence of the work of the Africans in resisting slavery. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it gives us an advantage in that respect that we understand.
So you are better placed as Pan-Africans
not necessarily
because you're from the West Indies.
Right, and I'm going to say not necessarily, because when you say better place, do you mean better place than Africans on the continent?
Yeah, simply because you
right.
you
and
can transcend
I'm gonna disagree with that. Yeah, but I'm
politics.
gonna disagree with that to the extent that there were many Africans on the continent who, independent of Africans from the diaspora, were able to transcend the so-called tribalism and the kind of things.
The founder of Ghana, modern Ghana,
Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice, and these are individuals. So we're talking about movements of people,
was the first independent,
right? Just what I'm saying. But even before him, he was inspired by a man called Agre. I'm forgetting his first name. Yeah, but who spoke up as an African. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He spoke.
Was he Ghanaian?
Yes, from
Can I
Ghana.
ask you a question? You know all the knowledge you have that you've developed in England, funny enough. You think the average African, why are you smiling?
Go ahead.
Do you think the average African are really fully united and in love with each other? Because from what I read, there's plenty of conflicts. There is actually racism with the shade of black that you are.
We'll try to fix that.
But those are side effects.
We'll try to fix that.
Side effects.
We'll try to fix that. We're going to try to fix that. Cool.
Yeah, you're asking me an in-house question.
Yeah, it's an in-house question.
You're asking me an in-house question. You're asking me an in-house question.
In-house question.
I'm asking you.
In-house question, yeah.
The way you're talking, you're suggesting that Africa is fully united, everyone's happy with each other.
No, not at all.
That's one of the goals. That's one of the goals. Let's not repeat ourselves though. Here and queer. That's one of the goals. We can move on.
Can you answer the question?
I've answered the question.
No, you haven't.
Go keep going in circles.
Repeat it
So
one
there
more
is no
time.
racism in Africa.
There is. There's prejudice.
No,
there's discrimination.
Exactly. There's no the racism that exists in Africa.
So what are you
The racism that exists in Africa is in places like Zimbabwe and places like South Africa, where white people, who are 10% of the population, sometimes
From what I
less,
read,
control,
is really super attractive.
control, like 80% of the resources in places like South Africa. That's racism.
That's racist. I agree with you.
What
I'm
exists
talking about shades
what
of
exists
black.
among Africans,
What you're saying
is as a result, of accepting or being indoctrinated into the ideology of white supremacy, we create superiority complexes among ourselves based upon what is closer to white. So the solution to what you're saying, for the solution to what you're saying, we're doing that right now. We're doing that right now. The solution to what you're saying is for African people to remove from their minds the ideology of whiteness.
One of the worst things.
Right. So you think the whole idea of some,
going around and looking at people,
groups of people being of lighter skin attractive is purely because of the white?
Yeah, of course, it's derived from that. Yes, definitely. Africa's never had a problem with any of our complexions until the imposition of white supremacy.
Of course.
Okay, if you say so.
So what we're doing right now is that we're exercising ourselves of the demon of white supremacy, and when we do that, we'll be able to see beauty in all shades of black.
There you go.
That's what we're doing at the moment.
I agree with you. I want what you want.
Yes,
but
yes,
I
yes.
feel like your long-term goals are a bit.
And you know what? That's a discussion that me and you can have.
Yeah.
That's the in-house conversation.
I've been watching a few videos.
That's the in-house conversation, and you're entitled to that.
But even
I don't understand. I don't know if I can really.
I mean, we will understand each other.
But even if you don't achieve your final aims and ambitions, the process itself is part of helping in exercise.
I mean, like,
some of
Can I
these
just ask
issues.
you, are white people that were born in Africa, are they African?
No.
Or black people that were born in Europe?
That's like.
Black.
I would read that.
Have they any right to say
Are
about
black people that are born in Europe black?
Are black people that are born into Europe, are they African? Do they
Yes.
have the right to have views on?
Yes.
Who are the Arabs?
Yes.
That's another discussion.
I'm an African born in
No,
Europe,
that's another
for
discussion.
example.
But to say,
Are
but
you
to say
European?
something like that,
No.
that's very extreme.
You're
Well,
British.
you say
I have a British nationality.
Well, that's a conversation.
I don't define myself as British, but my nationality is British. Witness, where you say? You're still channeling on Masala.
If they invade, I'm not saying they are. If they invade the thousand years,
I'm not feeling that, bro. I'm not feeling this.
If they invade the thousand years,
you get a sack for that. You get a sack for that. You know what I mean?
So maybe that's the conversation might go there. I don't know. It doesn't matter how long someone's been there. If they invade it first, they're always going to invade.
You have evidence.
I appreciate some of your questions, though. You asked intelligent questions.
I'm just letting you know how the spectrum goes.
I hear that.
Do you not think you could do more for Africa by being in Africa?
Yes.
Do you have a purpose?
Another question. Do you
have a purpose?
believe you could do more in Africa? With your views than
Okay, even if they were invaded,
In some ways.
even if they were
In some ways. That's why I go to
that
Africa.
land for over 1,000 years.
You know what I'm saying?
What do you do with them?
I'm going in January.
That's a big conversation.
That's a very big.
Not for good. Not for good.
Do
Not
we
yet.
kill them? Do we send them back?
No.
The problem though is that
other societies have established.
when I go to Africa,
so what do you do?
I see too many Europeans there commandeering resources.
About it before you
I
say
think
rash
when you go back to Africa, you're
Yeah.
going to be surprised.
I don't think saying someone, a people group is an invade. It's like, you know, the
possible.
European Americans. Are they
What's your
invaded?
point?
What the hell are you talking about?
Are they?
Because
Are they
you don't
invaded?
understand
I
history.
think
Okay,
I
but
think
is-
you might be
is anyone
surprised
asking for them to be
by the number of
killed or taken
Africans that
out?
agree with me.
Well, I see a
know,
lot of
I'm not
Africans
part
that
of
want to come and
Well,
live
but
there.
in this discussion,
Yeah, that's because of the ideology of white supremacy.
Well,
North
not
American.
necessarily. I think
any
they are
of it. Who
ignorant
said
of the
anything about being
history of
killed?
the
No, but you have to
conflicts
understand,
that
though,
you put on the table. I think most of
If
them
you're
don't
having a
even know
certain
about the
discussion,
slave trade.
There are many Africans in this country that are ignorant to the history of certain things.
destination, it doesn't
So
mean that
being
you're
on
not
the
going down
continent
that
or being
road.
here
Well, then we
is
have-
not
then-
is neither here nor there as African.
Our white people are X, Y, and Z,
Yeah, but you
X, Y,
put
and Z,
it,
X, Y,
bring
and
it
Z.
into consciousness is not value
Eventually,
add.
this
making it
idea
more
will only keep going forward.
No, it's not.
And eventually, it will be a distraction.
How can it be a benefit for people to not know about those
There's two
Africans?
conversations. So, yeah.
To not know their history.
We'll discuss
The only people it serves for African people not to speak about European people is European people.
That was our turn.
No.
Because that's why you had a problem when you came into the conversation. Because I just want to say I have a problem because when African people discuss,
Do I have a problem?
Yeah.
What's my problem?
Evidently.
What's my problem?
Evidently.
What's my problem? Can
When-
you define it?
Yeah, so your problem is evidently people like myself speaking about things like whiteness and white supremacy.
If I have a problem with you, why do I talk to you?
Because you've been talking to me about your problem with it. So that's
No,
what your issue is.
we've been discussing
And
an
giving
idea.
You giving me your questions and that kind of things.
Bro, we've been discussing an idea.
You know what, sir? It's
different.
fine. It's
if you want to
okay.
set, if you
have a
wanted
problem,
to set up a dichotomy because
you
it
have a
benefits.
problem,
Look,
it's fine. You
you're
have a
being
problem.
disingenuous.
But
man.
I'm not.
You are.
I
You're
made a
setting up a
statement.
dichotomy when there isn't one.
I made a statement and you challenged me on the statement. And
That's
now
how discussions work.
Yeah, but then you can't then tell me that you did.
Somebody's got punched.
No.
Looks like it.
Right? You can't if you challenge me on what I'm saying, it's evident that you have a problem with what I'm saying. So I don't know why.
Well, maybe I have an issue when we have a discussion.
why we're having a debate about whether you had a problem with it or not.
Because it's loaded language.
Nonsense. Yeah,
You can agree to disagree.
I'm saying it's nonsense. It's nonsense. My only point is that.
Sometimes you can agree.
My only point is that what the gentleman said. What the gentleman said was, are you not making it worse by keeping speaking about it? And I'm saying, the only people that it serves for African people to stop talking about European colonization and oppression is European people.
No, but you're not.
That's the only people that it serves.
But you're not understanding the situation. What they're trying to say is,
Yeah.
if you keep talking about the past,
Yes.
you're gonna constantly live it. If you want to,
That's not the case. But that's not the case.
Tell it to the Jewish people.
But that's not the case.
Let me finish.
It's not the case though. Go.
But not all
Don't you
Jews
think
agree.
it's more practical to come up with real solutions?
No, Jews
Yes.
are
All
bad.
Jews
Real
agree.
solutions.
Yes.
I'm not talking about that.
Actually-
All Jews agree if they're
Right.
past.
Yeah,
Now you tell me.
to have a better
But
outcome,
now you have to
have an
define for me.
outcome where it betters your struggle.
But now you have to define for me how talking about history stops you from coming up with solutions. Because I'm saying speaking about history is exactly what helps you to come up with solutions.
So I'm saying, it's just like the Jews, right? They understand they have to talk about their past because they fear it might repeat. So their children have to know what happened so they can see it coming. And to train people how to live with that reality.
I'll make you understand.
Maybe I understand.
Basically, if you want change to happen, you have to do it in a very subtle way, innit?
Sometimes.
Yeah, no, subtle.
I'm gonna ask you a personal question.
Subtle meaning that if you're going to destroy a brick,
Yeah.
don't destroy it. Take it down brick by brick, so So that then you
No,
can
yeah.
move forward.
There's a time for subtlety, and there's a time for, you know what I'm saying? That's what the Bible says. Yeah, there's a time for this and there's a time for that. Right? Well, let me show you something.
But the root,
Personal question.
You don't want to break that. This is you, yeah. There's this big brick in front of you.
Yeah.
One option is you can take one brick at a time.
Yeah.
And dismantle the wall. Yeah. Or you can kick the brick open. You can kick the brick down.
Yeah.
Till you.
I'm saying that there's a bit of both.
What route are you taking?
There's
One brick at a time. One brick at a time. I'm doing one brick at a time. I'm doing one brick at a time, bro.
Yeah.
Feel some kind of way.
One brick at a time.
We're doing one brick at a time. No, we're
get.
doing one brick at a time until there's enough feet to kick it down completely.
Okay, cool. Then you're.
Yeah.
Then you're.
How about that?
Yourself.
Almost
How about
sounds
that?
violent, doesn't it?
How about that? It might be.
Oh,
It might be.
Oh, it might be.
Colonization was violent.
So it's
Colonization was violent.
So it's like for like.
When the European
So what's
came
different?
and stole land and pillaged and robbed and raped,
I understand.
They didn't come and do it nicely and kindly.
And
say,
it was a terrible
Excuse me, African.
No.
May I commandeer your land and your resources?
Wait.
No.
You have to learn how to be better than that.
No. I agree. Listen.
Sometimes you have to be better than that.
Listen to me. Listen to me. Listen to me.
It is the highest level of consciousness
Tune
and
to what I'm
excellence.
saying. Tune to what I'm saying.
Be that character.
Tune to what I'm saying. Tune to what I'm saying. Yeah? Nobody should be a warmonger. Right? Nobody should be a warmonger. However,
Got to have that caveat.
if I punch you in your face, yeah, are you going to defend yourself?
I have to.
You have to defend yourself, right? Are you a warmonger because you defend yourself? You're not, are you?
No, I'm a defender.
You're defending yourself.
But what about
Yeah?
if he punched your
You're defending
grandfather in the
yourself.
face?
If he punched my grandfather in the face and I defend my grandfather,
No, but
I'm
it happened-
defending.
it happened
I'm
before
still a
you were born.
defender.
100. Okay, wait. Let
Again,
me give another
hold on.
analogy. Let me
You
give
know
another
what I mean?
analogy.
No. Hold on. I do know what you mean. One second. Let's do his analogy first. He said, what if he punched my grandfather? Yeah, so you punched my grandfather. What he's implying is that act of aggression is not still taking place at the moment. Yeah?
It might not be.
Yeah, but it is. That's the point I'm trying to make. That's why your analogy doesn't apply to the situation. Because if I can go to an African nation that's in South Africa and a white minority still own over 80% of the land and the resources in the economy, then the situation is still perpetuating
In
itself.
South Africa, maybe you're right. Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying that, is your point that what is in South Africa may not be the case in the rest of the continent?
It may not be. It's a very large place.
Right. So I'm
There's
saying to you,
issues there that
so
need
I'm
to be
saying
addressed
to you, so I'm saying to you that there is no nation on the African continent right about now, yes, that whereby the people of that nation, yeah, dominate, own and control their land and their resources.
Well, Nigeria?
Nowhere.
I don't agree.
Oil in Nigeria is controlled and owned by foreign national companies like Shell. Yeah?
They trade.
They don't trade. They own mines. Yeah? What are you talking about? Right? My brothers are from Somalia. Yeah, listen. The world criminalized, yeah, a group of people for protecting their shores, yeah, from European attempted commandeering of the coastline. I call them Somali pirates, yeah, because people are coming and polluting the waters, the ocean, yeah, and the world, including Barack Obama, criminalized those people for trying to take back, yeah, their coastline from European multinational companies that were polluting, yeah, and destroying the ecology of the area. So there's nowhere on the African continent where this takes place. Nowhere. The oil in Nigeria is controlled by foreign national companies like Shell. There are no Nigerian companies that own Nigerian oil.
So you're telling me that the sovereign
I've just told you what I'm telling you.
The sovereign nation of Nigeria is not earning any money
The sovereign nation of Nigeria is not sovereign. There is no African nation that is sovereign. A sovereign nation controls its economy.
Like in Libya as well, they had the national oil company. They tried to keep a lot of the oil national, and they became very rich. If they give it away,
Research it. Research oil Nigeria Shell.
But the thing is
Just research that. Research the campaigns. Research the political movements of the Ogoni people in Nigeria and how they were fighting back against the Shell occupation of their land. Research the Ogoni people of Nigeria and how they are are fighting back against the shell occupation of their land.
Nigeria is an incredibly wealthy nation. Multi-billionaire Nigerians.
According to what designation? According to what designation?
What are you talking about? What do you mean?
According to what designation?
Let's just say there are wealthy Nigerians in Nigeria, billionaires. But at the end of the day, the way they got their money is not what's it called? With like they didn't get it from their own people. Like basically they got that money, didn't it? Listen. Let me finish. They got that rich by exploiting their own land. Right, and giving what's it called, the wealth of their own country to the hands of foreign people. That's how they got rich.
If you look up, I believe the richest African is actually in Nigeria.
Come on, man.
If you look up his profile,
Dangote.
Anyone can get rich. I can get rich if
What's your point?
Out of manufacturing, because you're
What's your point?
No African has.
Now see, head of schizophrenia. An individual in Nigeria is rich. Therefore, Nigeria is rich. This is the logic that you have to deal with. Of Nigeria, because there's a rich guy in Nigeria.
Why can't you accept the fact that certain individuals in the West, I mean, they decide...
It's not individuals. There are multinational companies and nations that come in their wealth.
No, bro, I'm talking
we done with this conversation because I want to talk.
No, his job is to justify and explain away European imperialism. That's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is.
That's not what he's doing.
That's what it is.
I have a problem with you is the way you're kind of judging all Europeans.
It's not fair. Not fair statement.
But I haven't done that the whole conversation.
Well, you did.
Presenting another idea.
I was when you came in the conversation, I was speaking about whiteness as an ideology. I was speaking about whiteness as an ideology, and you decided instead of to address what it is I was saying, to individualize it to this individual white person and that individual white person. And I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in that. Who's denied that? Who's denied any of that? But again, as I said to you, that's an in-house conversation. That's an in-house conversation. That's an in-house conversation.
Well, listen, if you took the Europeans out of the equation,
what you can do, what a sincere non-African would do, what a sincere non-African would do, yeah, is go around the rest of the world. Go to Sweden. I'm not interested in your problem. I'm not interested in your problem.
When the fact is,
I'm not interested in your problem.
Africans are already in conflict without.
I'm not interested in your problem. You came and heard me speaking and you questioned me about it. I'm answering your questions. So your problem is not my problem. Right? What sincere European people and anybody else who's not African can do, yeah, if they're sincerely concerned about the African problem, yeah, is to go around the rest of the world. Come to Britain and America and France and Belgium and Portugal and Sweden and these places and tell them to stop exploiting African land and resources, to come out of Africa, yeah, and stop sending multinational corporations, yeah. Good. Continue to do that, yeah. So leave the African, let the Africans sort out their in-house business. You lot go around the rest of Europe and talk to the Europeans them about what they're doing.
The borders can make it worse.
Maybe things can work. We can move forward.
I see that.
Come take over everything from your humanity.
Come, man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV. Listen.
They created an artificial border which trapped different tribal groups here, which was never in
Somaliland in the north.
Somali, whatever, the whole border. They trapped 3 or 4 different tribes together, put a chair at the end of it, and said, may the best man win.